as ordinary citizens to deceive the Blue Army and launch a surprise attack. The myriad of intricate and perilous details left him utterly perplexed. What did it mean that they wouldn't believe, yet he could force them to? It was akin to knowing that what lay in the bowl was not rice, but a pile of excrement. Could anyone be persuaded to consume it? Nonetheless, given the circumstances, Zhou Zhongyi felt powerless. Lin Hui was now the commanding officer, and other than placing his trust in him, he had no alternative. Soon, Lin Hui distributed all the counterfeit documents. Upon receiving them, everyone was exhilarated. Wow, a fake identity. This is so cool. It feels like we're in a spy movie. Are we now agents? Lin Hui, with his hands clasped behind his back, stepped before the group and announced, "You've all received your identification cards. This is your new identity." With a beaming smile, he declared, "From this moment forth, you shall no longer be known as Wang Yong, Su Da, or Chun Eru. You will be called by the names on your IDs, having lived here your entire lives without ever leaving." Su Da curiously asked, "But what if we encounter someone from the Blue Army who interrogates us? What then?" All eyes turned to Lin Hui, as this was their greatest concern. Lin Hui chuckled. "Deny it with all your might. As long as you do not acknowledge it, they will have no evidence. Have you heard of Schrödinger as soldier? As long as you steadfastly refuse to admit it, no matter how much they suspect, you will remain ordinary citizens. Without definitive proof, they dare not open fire on civilians, unless they wish to remove their uniforms." Suddenly, a light dawned on everyone. Zhou Zhongyi also grasped the concept immediately, his face breaking into a broad smile. "Brilliant. Lin Hui, you are truly brilliant. This was no mere trickery, it was a straightforward strategy. Even if the Blue Army suspected they were affiliated with the Red side, without tangible evidence, they could do nothing against them. The soldiers of Yin country adhered to strict discipline. Without undeniable proof, any aggression towards civilians would be tantamount to courting death. He was certain those individuals would not dare to take such a risk. Lin Hui clapped his hands and dismissed the group, instructing them to familiarize themselves with the surroundings according to the addresses on their IDs and to assist their fellow villagers with household chores. After the others departed, Zhou Zhongyi approached Lin Hui and raised both thumbs in admiration, exclaiming, "Lin Hui, how on earth did you develop such a sharp mind? You maneuver various tactics with such finesse. If I were part of the Blue Army, my head would be throbbing by now." Lin Hui chuckled. "War is inherently fluid. It's the unpredictability that makes it exciting." Zhou Zhongyi nodded in agreement. "Indeed, we revel in the thrill while leaving the agony for others." At noon, a vehicle from the grain depot arrived in the village. Several villagers were assisting in unloading the sacks of grain. Under the shade of a nearby tree, a Blue Army jeep stood parked, occupied by 4 reconnaissance soldiers. The soldier in the passenger seat, filled with curiosity, inquired, "Why aren't we moving?" The driver, a seasoned reconnaissance soldier named Zhu Hao, replied, "Something feels off." The others, intrigued, pressed for details. "What's amiss?" Zhu Hao furrowed his brow, intently scrutinizing the villagers at work. "Did you see that individual wearing studded pants and a tank top? He's carrying 4 bags of flour, totaling around 200 pounds. Yet he's moving with remarkable speed." One soldier, unfazed, dismissed the concern. "What's unusual about that? Villagers often carry heavy loads. It's expected they possess strength." Zhu Hao retorted, exasperated. "Have you ever seen a villager with a buzz cut and such a rigid posture?" The 3 others paused, suddenly grasping the implication. "Are you suggesting there are Red Army infiltrators in the village?" Zhu Hao nodded solemnly. "When I passed by the riverbank, I sensed something was off. Those 2 young men fetching water moved with such agility. Their muscular calves clearly indicate rigorous training. And look at the others. Their stance is remarkably upright." The realization struck the others, and they became serious in an instant. If Red Army personnel had indeed infiltrated, it would pose a grave threat. The soldier in the passenger seat quickly grabbed the radio. "I need to report this immediately." Zhu Hao restrained him. "Wait, we're merely speculating. We lack concrete evidence." "What if we're mistaken?" The soldier nodded, acknowledging the wisdom in Zhu Hao's caution. As reconnaissance soldiers, they understood the necessity of basing their actions on facts. Relying solely on conjecture would not suffice. Moreover, if they reported to superiors and it turned out to be a false alarm, how would they explain apprehending villagers as suspected Red Army spies? They would be subjected to harsh reprimands. Zhu Hao leaped out of the vehicle. "Let's follow them for now. If they are indeed Red Army operatives, a simple interrogation will reveal the truth, and we can apprehend them then." "Excellent idea." The others swiftly exited the vehicle and followed him towards the village. Chapter 172. A polite gesture. Did you take it seriously? Wang Yong was delivering flour to the villagers. Upon stepping outside, he sensed someone trailing him. As he turned a corner, a furtive glance revealed 4 Blue Army reconnaissance soldiers shadowing him, causing his heart to race. And he hurried his pace. Not far away, at the base of a wall outside a courtyard, Lin Hui and Chun Eru were crouched down, sifting through noodles. "Lin Yanzu. Shingoshing, what are you 2 up to?" Wang Yong approached him with a trembling demeanor, as if he were seeing a long-lost relative. Lin Hui lifted his gaze and, upon noticing the 4 blue-clad reconnaissance soldiers trailing behind Wang Yong, nearly choked on his meal. What the devil? How did the Blue Army arrive here? Wang Yong exclaimed in a panic. I have no idea. I was just buying flour from the locals when these fellows suddenly fixated on me and followed all the way. Have I blown my cover? Lin Hui set down his bowl and stood up. Do not panic. Step back. Leave this to me. Soon, Zhu Hao and his men approached. His gaze scrutinized the 3 individuals before finally settling on Lin Hui, who he regarded with a cold smirk. You have quite the audacity to impersonate civilians. You must be with the Red Army, correct? Feigning ignorance, Lin Hui replied, What army? I only know of the People's Liberation Army of Yin Nation. Zhu Hao snorted disdainfully and seized Lin Hui's hand. Show me your palm. Observing the calluses on Lin Hui's hands, particularly at the base of his thumb, he chuckled triumphantly. Such thick calluses. You must have been firing weapons quite frequently. Which unit of the Red faction do you belong to? Lin Hui yanked his hand back defiantly. What nonsense is this? I do farm work. Who doesn't have calluses on their hands? Spare me your drivel. Zhu Hao's patience dwindled as he demanded, Produce your identification. Both of you. Lin Hui rolled his eyes. Who carries their ID every day? Besides, why should I show it to you? Give me a reason. Zhu Hao's irritation was palpable. Before he could respond, one of the soldiers chuckled amiably. We suspect that enemies may have infiltrated the village and wish to verify your identities. May we see your IDs for confirmation? Lin Hui feigned understanding. Ah, if that's the case, you should have said so sooner. I'll fetch it from home. As he departed, he discreetly signaled to Wang Yong and Chen Eru. The 2 awaited Lin Hui's return before producing their IDs and presenting them. Zhu Hao examined Chen Eru's identification, his expression turning curious. Holding it close to his face, he scrutinized, You claim to be 18? You look more like 28. Chen Eru quickly offered a sheepish grin. I age rapidly. I looked 8 at birth. Wang Yong hastily nodded in agreement. I can vouch for him. He may appear older, but he is indeed 18, as clearly stated on his ID. Zhu Hao chuckled mockingly, tossing the ID back dismissively. Enough with the charade. Is it amusing? With your buzz cuts, which civilian looks like you? Just confess. Lin Hui immediately bristled. What is wrong with a buzz cut? It's cool and practical for work. Zhu Hao scoffed, convinced that even with IDs, his judgment would not falter. After 7 years as a reconnaissance soldier, his instincts were sharp as an eagle's. Such petty tricks could deceive no one. With a lack of patience for further discussion, he decided to act. Arrest them all. Take them away. Just as several soldiers prepared to apprehend them, a loud shout erupted from the courtyard. An elderly man rushed out, exclaiming, What are you doing? What do you intend to do? Lin Hui was momentarily taken aback, for his fellow villager had also sported a buzz cut, and it surprisingly gave him a rather spirited appearance. The old man positioned himself protectively in the middle and inquired with vigilance, What do they intend to do? Lin Hui feigned a look of terror and bewilderment, exclaiming, Father, these soldiers claim that I have cut my hair into a buzz cut and intend to arrest me, insisting that I am an enemy agent. The old man, instantly incensed, unleashed a torrent of spittle towards Zhu Hao and his companions. What is wrong with a buzz cut? We simply prefer buzz cuts. Is there a problem with that? Zhu Hao, flustered, stammered, No problem at all. But before he could finish, the old man bellowed at the top of his lungs into the house, Wife, come out quickly. Soon, an elderly woman emerged, also sporting a buzz cut, which nearly caused Lin Hui to choke in disbelief. He had merely advised the villager to cooperate a little, when had they all taken to shaving their heads. The elderly woman, with her teeth in disarray, inquired, What is the matter, old man? Fuming, the old man pointed at Zhu Hao and the others. A few soldiers have arrived, claiming that our Yen Zhu has a buzz cut, and that they are enemy agents, intending to arrest them all. The elderly woman, in a fit of agitation, nearly leapt up. What is wrong with a buzz cut? What is wrong with cutting hair into a buzz cut? We like buzz cuts. Both the young and old in our village prefer them. Buzz cuts are refreshing, practical for work, and save on shampoo. Our village is known as Buzz Cut Village. The reconnaissance soldiers were dumbfounded. Isn't this called Lang Lang Village? The elderly woman, raising her voice, retorted, It was just renamed. Is that a problem? She suddenly called out to the surroundings. Villagers, come out. Come and see. The soldiers are here to arrest my son. Dog Sheng's mother, come out. Your son is about to be taken away too. Her call roused half the village, and soon a swarm of villagers poured out, kicking up clouds of dust. Not only were the reconnaissance soldiers rendered speechless, but even Lin Hui and his companions were left gaping in astonishment. Men, women, and children alike, all had buzz cuts. Exchanging glances, Lin Hui and his companions silently thought, the villagers are truly tenacious. As the crowd swelled, Zhu Hao was now thoroughly panicked. What on earth was happening? Could they have truly made a mistake? Lin Hui quickly interjected, They not only accused me of having a buzz cut, But they also claim that I have calluses on my hands from shooting every day. What utter nonsense. The onlookers all spread their hands, revealing thick calluses on nearly every palm. An elderly gentleman, clearly agitated, remarked, "Look at my hands. Are these not calluses? I've had these calluses for years. Could it be from shooting every day?" Nearby, a plump woman seized Zhu Hao's hand, urging him to feel her palm. "These are from wielding a hoe. Years of hard labor have given me these calluses. Feel them. Go on, feel them." Zhu Hao, frightened, quickly withdrew his hand, repeatedly apologizing. "I'm so sorry, so sorry. Perhaps we truly made a mistake." The others hastily lowered their heads in contrition. "Our apologies, sir. Our apologies, ma'am. Our apologies to all." As they retreated, they continued to express their regrets. Once they had distanced themselves sufficiently, they turned and fled. After escaping to their vehicle, Zhu Hao finally exhaled in relief. "I can't believe I misjudged the situation. Isn't this called Lang Lang Village? How did it become Buzzcut Village? Do the common folk nowadays truly have such an affinity for buzz cuts?" The individual in the passenger seat, still shaken, remarked, "I warned you not to act recklessly. But you refused to listen. We almost found ourselves in an inextricable situation." Zhu Hao awkwardly responded, "This matter must not reach the brigade commander, otherwise we would be subjected to a severe reprimand. Of course, we must hurry and leave." The vehicle roared to life as they hastily fled the scene. As the car receded into the distance, Lin Hui finally exhaled in relief. He turned to the village chief and inquired, "Chief, why has everyone shaved their heads?" The chief grinned with pride. "This was my idea. Isn't it splendid?" Lin Hui felt somewhat embarrassed. "It is indeed commendable, yet it seems rather unfair to you all." The elderly woman playing Lin Hui's mother interjected, "What are you saying? We are all part of one family, military and civilian alike. You have worked so hard to assist us. We hardly know how to express our gratitude. Moreover, these individuals are from other provinces, they are the enemy, and we must support our own. Besides, isn't it splendid to have a buzz cut in the sweltering heat? It even saves on shampoo." The others erupted into laughter. Ultimately, they had successfully driven off the enemy, and that was what mattered. Lin Hui gave them a thumbs up. "I have never admired anyone in my life, but today, I am in awe of your entire village. Had this been during wartime, each of you would be considered a hero." The village chief proudly raised his head. "Indeed, indeed. Should such matters arise in the future, do remember to seek our assistance." Lin Hui turned, his eyes gleaming with intent. "Chief, let us not wait for next time. Let us address it now, for I wish to request your help." The village chief nearly choked. "I merely made a passing remark, a polite gesture. Why are you taking it so seriously?" Chapter 173. Lin Hui's plot to entrap his fellow villagers inside a modest dwelling. Several company commanders surrounded Lin Hui, engaged in compiling intelligence. During the day, they had cleverly disguised themselves as locals, utilizing various ruses, collecting bottles, visiting relatives, foraging for mushrooms, to gather information from the surrounding areas. To their surprise, they uncovered valuable insights. Zhang Jiantao pointed to several locations on the map. "Here, particularly near Xinhua village, we have detected the presence of Blue Army forces. For safety reasons, we did not advance recklessly but instead sent genuine villagers to gather information for us. Based on their descriptions, we deduced that these positions host a missile battalion, an armored regiment, and an aviation unit." Lin Hui nodded, marking these points on the map. He then turned to the others and asked, "What are your findings?" The others eagerly pointed at the map, reporting their respective discoveries. "We arrived at Area 244 in the afternoon and found soon enough." Lin Hui meticulously annotated the nearby Red Army troop deployments on the map. He lacked a sand table, thus consulting the map was the most effective and direct means of grasping the battlefield situation. However, due to constraints of time and transportation, they could not venture far, merely acquiring knowledge of the Blue Army's disposition in the surrounding vicinity. Beyond that range, further reconnaissance proved impossible. Lin Hui continued to inquire, "Aside from these, do we possess any other actionable intelligence?" Zhou Zhongyi spoke with a serious demeanor. "For now, this is all the intelligence we have. However, based on their troop deployment adjustments, I surmise that some units of the Blue Army have already engaged with the Red forces. Otherwise, they would not have suddenly mobilized their troops." Lin Hui nodded in agreement with the commander's perspective. Days have passed since the commencement of the exercises, and both sides have completed their deployments. What follows will likely be a series of probing attacks, so engagement would not be surprising. Zhou Zhongyi looked at him and inquired, "Since they have begun their maneuvers, should we not also take action?" Lin Hui nodded. "Indeed, I have such intentions." Zhou Zhongyi rubbed his hands together excitedly, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. "So, where shall we strike? With numerous troops stationed nearby, why not start by targeting a few soft targets?" Zhang Jiantao immediately suggested, "I think that missile battalion looks promising. After all, they are heavy artillery. Neutralizing them would significantly alleviate the pressure on the Red forces." Others nodded in agreement. A conventional missile battalion would typically be safeguarded by only 2 security companies. If we strike, the odds are overwhelmingly in our favor. Even if the Blue Army reacts, we should be able to retreat swiftly. Lin Hui pondered for a moment and shook his head. We will not strike the missile battalion. Then where shall we attack? Lin Hui pointed at the map. We will target their logistics brigade. Upon seeing the location, Zhou Zhongyi was taken aback. Are you out of your mind? You dare to set your sights on this? Lin Hui smiled. Isn't this what we set out to achieve from the beginning? Zhou Zhongyi retorted, at the outset. We were unaware of the surrounding conditions. The Blue Army has since adjusted its troop deployment, stationing numerous forces in the rear precisely to prevent any opportunistic incursions. Striking at this juncture is akin to lighting a candle in a restroom. Foolhardy. The Chief of Staff also spoke gravely. Lin Hui, the commander is correct. The logistics brigade poses too high a risk. If our operation fails, we will have effectively revealed our position. This is the Blue Army's rear. Once our location is compromised, we would face dire consequences. Others joined in to persuade him. The exercise has just begun. There is no need for such recklessness. We should strive for stability, especially since we are currently disconnected from the main forces of the Red Army. Should anything go awry, we would have no one to assist us. Lin Hui patiently waited for them to finish expressing their opinions. Have you all finished? The group fell silent, gazing at him. Lin Hui smiled. Your points are well taken and quite reasonable, but I hope you refrain from voicing them next time. Everyone collectively gasped in shock. Lin Hui, with an air of calmness, stated, your intent is to seek stability, while I am considering how to achieve the greatest victory with minimal sacrifice. The logistics are the enemy's lifeline and the Blue Army's jugular. They remain oblivious to our presence in their rear, thus granting us the initiative. As long as we act swiftly and decisively, I am confident that we have a high chance of success. He smiled brightly. After all, everyone present has participated in real combat along the borders. We successfully infiltrated under the very noses of the enemy, detonated their northern heavy industries, and returned unscathed. How can we not succeed here? Lin Hui glanced at Zhou Zhongyi and remarked, of course, this matter has nothing to do with you. It does not concern you at all. Zhou Zhongyi's lips twitched in disbelief, thinking, damn it, have I become an outsider? Others recalled the frenzied state they had initially experienced and, upon reflection, recognized that they had indeed become overly cautious. This phenomenon illustrates that as doubts arise, the more one seeks a delicate balance, the more one finds oneself constrained. On the battlefield, they fear not even death. Not even the mightiest deity could impede their resolve. Lin Hui continued, what do we, the Red Team, lack compared to the Blue Army? Is it truly our combat capabilities that fall short? Not at all. Our deficiency lies solely in weaponry and ammunition. If we can eliminate their logistics unit, the Blue Army's advantages will vanish in an instant. Without shells, what use are their 85 and 90 tanks? They become mere iron turtles, nothing but live targets. His words instantly ignited fervor among the crowd. Indeed, without ammunition supplies, the Blue Army's modern equipment would be reduced to nothing more than iron shells, inferior even to the outdated gear of the Red Team. To put it simply, devoid of logistical support, the Blue Army would be like eunuchs in a harem, surrounded by beauty yet rendered impotent. Zhang Jintao's eyes sparkled with fierce determination. Yes, let's target their logistics unit. Without ammunition, let us see how the Blue Army maintains their arrogance. Shall we resort to underhanded tactics? Lin Hui chuckled and shook his head. Using the same trick too often renders it ineffective. At the right moment, we need to change our approach. Seeing the cunning smile on his face, the others couldn't help but snicker mischievously. Zhou Zhongyi, observing from the side, felt a chill run down his spine. These rascals. Why do they look so sinister when they laugh? He cleared his throat and asked, so what exactly do you plan to do? Lin Hui grinned and replied, you'll find out soon enough. Let us have the village chief gather all the townsfolk. Our success this time hinges upon them. Zhou Zhongyi's expression turned peculiar. He couldn't shake the feeling that Lin Hui was about to lead the villagers into a trap. At the Blue Army's logistics unit, amidst the grounds of an abandoned factory, everyone was busily engaged in their tasks. They hurriedly transported box after box of ammunition onto trucks. The brigade commander, hands clasped behind his back, stood by urging, hurry up, move faster. All ammunition must be in place within 20 minutes. We depart punctually in 20 minutes. Curiously, the chief of staff inquired, Commander, where are all these munitions headed? The commander coldly replied, they're about to launch an offensive against the Red Team, and I must ensure ample ammunition supply. He continued, I've loaded several trucks for them. It should suffice for a while. The chief of staff nodded in understanding. In the southeast combat zone, it was well known that the 5th Combined Brigade was a voracious consumer of resources, whether in training or combat. Their ammunition consumption was akin to a flowing stream. Nonetheless, this unit was remarkably formidable, having decisively outperformed various peer units since its inception. Lin Fan, the commander's son, possessed an extraordinary talent for military strategy and was rumored to have led a brigade last year to nearly defeat an entire division. Even the leaders at headquarters praised him as a genius. The chief of staff chuckled. It seems that the red side is in for a significant loss this time. The brigade commander nodded in agreement. That lad has inherited the commendable genes of the commander. He is also a key player in our blue army for this exercise. So we must expedite the ammunition supply to him without delay. We cannot afford to miss this tactical opportunity. Understood. Just then, a guard rushed over, breathlessly reporting, "Sir, there are numerous villagers outside. They appear to be causing a disturbance." Villagers? The brigade commander and the chief of staff exchanged perplexed glances, their expressions revealing their bewilderment. How could the villagers possibly cause trouble? Could it be that during the exercise, someone had stealthily slipped into the village and committed a grave misconduct, leading to their confrontation? Such incidents, though rare, had not been unheard of in the past. If that were indeed the case, it would be a serious issue. The brigade commander immediately adopted a grave demeanor. What exactly is going on? The guard stammered, unable to articulate the situation clearly. However, a subordinate nearby, who had a better grasp of the events, recounted what had transpired during the day. The brigade commander was instantly incensed. Those rascals. Do they think those two holes in their faces are merely decorative? Just because someone sports a crew cut, they assume they are spies from the red side? How absurd. The chief of staff interjected, attempting to mediate. Commander, their actions stem from a place of caution. While misguided, they are not entirely without justification. The brigade commander scoffed. I see them merely stirring up trouble. Among all the armies in the world, only the soldiers of the Yen nation maintain the best relationship with the common folk. It is said that the bond between the military and civilians is akin to that of fish and water. For an army to grow strong and achieve victory, it must always rely on the support of the people. Yet now, those four fools dare to suspect the villagers of being spies from the red side and attempt to forcibly detain them? Are they not deliberately creating conflict and exacerbating tensions? It is no wonder the villagers have come to protest. The chief of staff, bemused, asked, "So, what shall we do now?" The brigade commander, glaring, retorted, "What shall we do? Capture those four miscreants, bind them, and bring them here to apologize to the villagers. We must earn their forgiveness. Otherwise, they shall all face confinement." Yes, the guard hurriedly took the orders to apprehend them. Poor Zhu Hao and his companions believed they had narrowly escaped a crisis. The brigade commander, exasperated, remarked, "Of all people to provoke, why disturb the villagers? I truly cannot fathom their reasoning. Come, let us go to the entrance and first stabilize the villagers' emotions." The chief of staff nodded and quickly followed him. Chapter 174. We must not dishearten the villagers. Outside the brigade's barracks stood a large group of villagers, all sporting crew cuts, regardless of age or gender. The sight left the guards at the entrance astonished. They had never encountered such a spectacle before in their lives. What village is this that favors crew cuts so fervently? While it was somewhat acceptable for the men, the sight of elderly women with shaved heads was indeed quite jarring. Lin Hui, accompanied by a small contingent, mingled among the villagers, while the rest of his team was strategically positioned nearby, awaiting orders. The village chief stood at the forefront, glancing nervously at the armed soldiers surrounding them, swallowing hard in trepidation. His calves trembled incessantly as he turned and said, "Lin Hui, I truly cannot manage this. The moment I become anxious, I forget my lines, and I will surely reveal the truth. Perhaps we should choose someone else?" Lin Hui, in a low voice and with a smiling demeanor, reassured him, "Do not worry, I am here. If you forget your lines, I will remind you." The village chief nodded, his heart still fluttering with unease, uncertain whether this endeavor would succeed. At that moment, a colonel from the Blue Army emerged, accompanied by 4 scouts, those very same individuals from earlier. Upon approaching, the brigade commander glared at the 4 men and, with a voice filled with irritation, commanded, "Stand at attention. Apologize to the villagers at once." The 4 immediately bowed at a 90-degree angle, sincerely apologizing. "Dear villagers, we are truly sorry. We were in the wrong earlier, and we hope for your forgiveness." The brigade commander then addressed the crowd seriously. "Dear villagers, regarding what happened earlier, it was my failure to supervise that led to this incident, and I extend my deepest apologies. I have already reprimanded these 4 and can assure you that such an error will not occur again. How about this? I will have them assist you in the village as a form of atonement." Lin Hui's expression instantly changed. If they were to send people here, it would surely lead to exposure. The village chief glanced at Lin Hui, his face filled with questions, as he had not been instructed on how to respond to such a proposition. Lin Hui motioned with his lips, and the village chief quickly realized he needed to say something, hastily gesturing to the brigade commander. No, that won't be necessary. We did not come here to demand accountability. Those young comrades did nothing wrong." The brigade commander was taken aback. What did this mean? They were not here to seek retribution? Had he misunderstood the situation? The village chief began to speak as Lin Hui had advised, comrade leader, regarding the earlier incident. We were the ones who failed to clarify matters and inadvertently created a misunderstanding, which weighs heavily on our hearts. We have come here to explain, as we fear those four young comrades might feel unhappy and misinterpret us as adversaries. We simply prefer a shaved head. There is no fault in that. Indeed. It is all a misunderstanding. Zhu Hao quickly chimed in, filled with gratitude, recognizing the villagers' understanding nature. Finally, they would not face confinement or punishment. The brigade commander, upon hearing this, secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that they were not seeking trouble, otherwise, he would have been at a loss on how to handle the situation. The brigade commander turned, glaring at the joyfully smiling Zhu Hao and the others, snorting coldly. Do not think that just because the villagers are not pursuing this matter, it can be swept aside. Each of you will submit a written self-reflection. Yes. The four quickly nodded, their smiles vanishing. After this exchange, the village chief momentarily faltered. Being of advanced age, it was challenging to recall so many words at once. Lin Hui promptly handed him a basket of vegetables, whispering, "Village chief, take this." Upon receiving the basket, the village chief seemed to have his memory awakened and promptly addressed the brigade commander. Comrade leader, your training is quite arduous. We have specially prepared this 8 treasure porridge for you, filled with red dates and longan, all grown by us, and it is quite nutritious. After finishing the meal, you all fight with more vigor and run faster. He lifted the cloth covering the basket of food, revealing a small aluminum pot within. As he removed the lid, a plume of steam wafted upwards, carrying the rich aroma of 8 treasure porridge that instantly made one's mouth water. Just as mealtime approached, the surrounding individuals, all hungry, began to salivate at the enticing scent. Without a second thought, the brigade commander shook his head in refusal. Thank you for your kindness, villagers. But we have regulations in our unit that prohibit us from accepting items from civilians. A nearby woman with a crew cut immediately expressed her displeasure. Is it that you find our food unworthy? No, that is certainly not the case, the commander replied, his face resembling a bitter melon as he waved his hands. We truly have rules, but we appreciate your goodwill. The woman persisted. No way. We have put in so much effort gathering firewood to make this 8 treasure porridge. And we traveled a long distance just to bring it to you at mealtime to show our appreciation for the soldiers. If you want to even take a single bite, it feels as though you look down upon us. Lin Hui lowered his head, allowing the people in front to shield him, muttering in a low voice, "Let it go. Ma'am, they are about to have their meal and wouldn't he look twice at what we have." Upon hearing this, others immediately chimed in. Soldiers, if you truly look down upon our offering, just say the word, and we will take it away and never return. It seems our goodwill is wasted. Seeing the situation spiral out of control, the brigade commander felt overwhelmed. If it weren't for the earlier incident, he might have managed to brush it off. Yet, given their already tenuous position, it would be disheartening to reject the villagers who had made such effort to express their gratitude. The bond between the military and civilians runs deep. Treating the latter with disdain would weigh heavily on his conscience for a lifetime. A nearby guard whispered, "Brigade commander, what should we do? Shall we drive them away?" The commander shot him a fierce glare. What nonsense. The villagers have come such a long way to show their support, bringing us what they usually cannot afford. If we send them away, wouldn't that break their hearts? If we cannot maintain a good relationship with the villagers, how can our troops hope to win battles? He turned to the village chief, smiling warmly. Thank you for your kindness. We will accept this food. Would that be agreeable? No. The chief immediately shook his head. If you take it back, what if you don't drink it? The red dates and longan inside were cultivated through our diligent efforts. This is our heartfelt labor. The brigade commander nodded, feeling an odd discomfort with these words. A nearby woman chimed in to support. Why not drink it now? It won't take much of your time, and it's still warm. Watching you enjoy it would bring us comfort, knowing our efforts were not in vain. The commander glanced back to see several of his subordinates nodding in agreement. With a resigned sigh, he understood that if they did not partake of the porridge, the villagers would certainly not leave. In a short while, a batch of ammunition is urgently scheduled for dispatch. If they do not leave and remain here, it would be inappropriate for us to resort to force, would it not? The brigade commander, with a sense of resignation, nodded. Inform everyone to come over for porridge. Not a single drop should be left. Understood. Soon, a large group of people joyfully rushed over with bowls in hand. The villagers beamed with delight. Now this is how it should be. There was plenty of porridge, so there was no need to worry about running short. In no time, everyone had been served. Even the guards at the entrance each enjoyed a bowl. The brigade commander savored a bowl and quickly requested another. Villagers, your 8 treasure porridge is unlike anything sold outside. It is truly delicious. The village chief stroked his beard, his face brimming with pride. Indeed, Our porridge is made with genuine ingredients and a unique recipe. Those outside can't even dream of tasting it. We still have more in the pot, so don't worry, we made plenty. The brigade commander nodded, turning to the crowd and calling out, "Everyone, please indulge in this. It is a small gesture of goodwill from the villagers, and it must all be consumed. Leave not a single drop." Yes, the soldiers responded with smiles. They were ravenous and could hardly resist such a delightful offering. Some started with 2 bowls. It must be said, the red dates and longans grown by the villagers are indeed far tastier than those found elsewhere. Lin Hui, hidden among the crowd, watched them drink with such enjoyment, a mischievous smile gracing his face. Drink up, drink more. The more you indulge now, the more exhilarating it will be later. Chapter 175. Make way. Let the brigade commander go first. Soon, all the porridge brought had been consumed, the pot scraped clean without a single drop remaining. Lin Hui did not taste it himself, but seeing the blue-clad soldiers savoring every mouthful, looking unsatisfied even after finishing, he surmised that this secret 8-treasure porridge must be exceptional. "Thank you, village chief. Thank you, villagers." The brigade commander saluted everyone, smiling as he said, "Having consumed your porridge, we feel invigorated. Henceforth, we shall train even harder to protect our country and safeguard you. Bravo." The village chief led the crowd in enthusiastic applause. They then began to pack up their belongings and returned home with their baskets. Watching the villagers depart with their close-cropped hair, the brigade commander felt a surge of emotion. "Do you see? Even the villagers stand with us. It will be difficult for us to lose this battle." Before coming, who claimed the locals were unfriendly, I find them quite warm-hearted, even offering such wonderful food to host us. The chief of staff nodded in agreement. The old saying holds true, we must never distance ourselves from the masses. In the distance, among the trees, the villagers, carrying their baskets, smiled at Lin Hui, with the village chief chuckling. "So, how did we perform just now?" Lin Hui gave a thumbs up. "Not just good, it was extraordinary. If this were an actual battle, everyone would earn commendations." The villagers beamed, their faces radiating joy. Having toiled in the fields for a lifetime, they never imagined they could play the role of heroes. For this alone, their support was invaluable. "Villagers, you may return now. We will handle the rest," Lin Hui concluded. Upon hearing this, the villagers remained rooted in place. Not a single one moved. Lin Hui was puzzled and curiously looked at the village chief, asking, "Chief, what is going on?" The village chief said with a beaming smile, "Well, we thought we might stay and see if we could lend a hand." Lin Hui was taken aback. "Weren't you eager to return? It's already dark." "Not in a hurry, not in a hurry. After all, there's nothing to do back home. In the village, when night falls, there are no entertainment activities. This year, rural areas have yet to achieve universal electrification. There are no streetlights. Once it gets dark, everyone stays indoors, feeling quite bored. It's better to stay here and watch the grand performance. This is far more enjoyable than returning home to watch a black and white television." As Lin Hui observed the villagers' innocent smiles, he suddenly understood. They wished to remain and witness the spectacle. Lin Hui, somewhat helpless, looked at the village chief and asked, "Chief, weren't you just anxious and wanting to leave? Why the change of heart now?" The chief's face flushed slightly. "At first, I was inexperienced and nervous, but gradually I calmed down. To be honest, I was thinking about those war films where the common folk assist the 8th Route Army in fooling the little devils. And then I imagined the opposing side as those little devils, which made me feel instantly at ease." Lin Hui nearly choked, marveling at the villagers' vivid imaginations. Those blue army soldiers, when the villagers served them porridge, must have been envisioned as little devils, likely inciting a fierce resentment that could shatter their bowls. Lin Hui, both amused and exasperated, remarked, "Chief, perhaps it would be best if you didn't watch. This is merely a drill, a simulation, and there's nothing of real interest. Moreover, we ought to spare them some dignity, shouldn't we? It's one thing for us to be eliminated, but if you were to witness it, it might be quite distressing for them." Although it was a performance, Lin Hui felt it necessary to preserve a semblance of respect for the soldiers. The villagers, being reasonable folk, did not press the issue further. The chief nodded with a smile. "All right, if we want to watch, let us head back." As they were about to leave, he discreetly pulled Lin Hui aside and whispered, "Young man, next time such an event occurs, do call us. The elders have gained some experience." Lin Hui chuckled in disbelief. Had they become addicted to this? He nodded in a perfunctory manner and waved goodbye to the villagers. Once they had departed, Lin Hui swiftly led his team back. They concealed themselves near the Blue Army's headquarters, meticulously observing the distant situation. Wang Yong crouched atop a mound, grinning mischievously. "Ah, how I long for the joy of past explosions. I wonder if I can relive it today. This life hinges on such moments. Rest assured, it will be a guaranteed success." Chen Arrow promised. "I've packed plenty this time, and it's all for the cattle and sheep. The potency is remarkable. They'll surely take off from the spot." The faces of the others were lit with wicked smiles. During the last drill, they had been obliterated in no time. Regarding the Blue Army Missile Battalion's scarcity, they had only heard rumors. None had witnessed it firsthand. Now, they finally had the opportunity to experience it themselves. And they were all bubbling with excitement. Zhang Jiantao couldn't help but exclaim. Last time it was a battalion, now it's a brigade. Goodness, this is truly spectacular. It's like biological weaponry. Zhou Zhongyi, observing the eager expressions on everyone's faces, sighed helplessly. What a fine steel tiger it is. Yet how has Lin Hui allowed it to be reduced to such a state? One after another, they all fail to learn properly. Nevertheless, as long as they can achieve victory, it suffices, even if it requires a measure of deceit. Perhaps it serves as a lesson for the Blue Army. Ultimately for their own benefit. Lin Hui addressed the assembly. Quickly change into your uniforms and prepare your weapons. Be ready for battle at any moment. The group promptly donned the military attire they had concealed. All ammunition was chambered. Time ticked away, moment by moment. Soon, a convoy emerged from the Blue Army's barracks. However, it had not traveled far when the trucks suddenly halted. The driver, clutching his rear, dashed towards the barracks as if his backside were ablaze. In no time, the other soldiers followed suit, legs crossed, rushing towards their quarters. The effects of the laxative were taking hold. A faint smile crept upon Lin Hui's lips. Yet, he refrained from issuing an immediate order to attack. Although the laxative was potent, each individual's constitution varied, and the absorption of the medication would naturally differ. Patience was essential. They must wait until the effects fully manifested before launching their assault. Soon, the guards stationed outside the barracks turned pale, clutching their stomachs as they ran back. Within moments, all the guards at the entrance had fled. A cacophony of agonized cries erupted from within the barracks, sounding akin to the pains of childbirth. Now is the time. Charge! Lin Hui signaled, and in an instant, everyone surged forth like ravenous wolves, their expressions gleefully unrestrained. Meanwhile, chaos reigned within the camp, as all scrambled towards the latrine, desperately seeking relief. I can't hold it any longer. Step aside, step aside. If you crowd any closer, I'll have an accident. The brigade commander burst from the command post, clutching his abdomen, his eyes wide in fury at the pandemonium surrounding him. What on earth is happening? Why is everyone suddenly afflicted with stomach issues? The chief of staff, leaning against the wall, weakly approached. Only just finished eating, and my stomach began to churn. In less than 10 minutes, I've run to the latrine 3 times. My legs feel like jelly. He trembled like an old man nearing the end of his days. Could it be an issue with the 8 treasure porridge from our fellow villagers? The brigade commander slammed his palm against the wall, glaring fiercely at him. Enough of your nonsense. The bond between military and civilian is strong. Our fellow villagers only offer us their finest. How could there possibly be a problem? Such divisive remarks are unwarranted. It must be due to our unfamiliarity with the local environment. Oh no, I can't hold it any longer. I must go. Remember to bring me some toilet paper, he exclaimed, as he hurriedly made his way to the latrine, clutching his backside. A throng had gathered at the latrine entrance, preventing anyone from entering. Upon seeing the brigade commander approaching, a guard quickly shouted, "The brigade commander is here. Make way, let the leader go first." Indeed, no matter the circumstances, they always remembered the hierarchy. The crowd parted immediately, and the brigade commander dashed inside, just in time to find an available stall. Just as his sphincter reached its limit, he unfastened his belt with unprecedented swiftness and squatted down. With a resounding explosion of sound, relief washed over his face. What a relief! At that moment, a sudden barrage of gunfire erupted from outside. The brigade commander was taken aback, his demeanor instantly shifting to one of seriousness. What is happening? What is going on? Even those below instinctively closed the gates, raising their vigilance. Nearby, the 3rd Regiment commander crouched slightly, glancing at him and inquiring, "Commander, do you have any paper?" The brigade commander, infuriated, retorted, "Get lost. Handle it yourself." Just then, the hoarse voice of the chief of staff echoed from outside. "Commander, stop dawdling. Hurry up and pull your pants up. The enemy has breached our defenses." "What? How is that possible?" The brigade commander shivered in fear, losing control of the gates, which burst open with a cacophony. Chapter 176. Just as the ambush was about to commence, the ammunition supply ran out. The gunfire outside was deafening. The brigade commander was in a state of frantic urgency. Yet he found himself entangled in an unfinished situation. With immense psychological pressure bearing down on him, he forced himself to endure for a moment before hastily rising. Without a second thought to clean himself up, he quickly pulled up his trousers and dashed outside. Upon witnessing the scene outside, he was left dumbfounded. Surrounding the camp were numerous red soldiers who had seemingly emerged from nowhere, firing indiscriminately and specifically targeting those without pants. Lin Hui, while firing, shouted, "Everyone listen closely. Aim for those who aren't wearing pants first. Once you're done with them, then target those who are." Instantly, everyone was filled with exhilaration. Akin to children entering an amusement park, joyously clutching their weapons and rushing towards the restroom. Where would there be the most bare bottoms? Surely, it was the restroom. This was an abandoned factory, and the locations of public toilets were fixed on each floor. They hardly expended any effort before locating the Blue Army soldiers who were desperately attempting to relieve themselves in the lavatory. What are you doing? Doing you? A barrage of gunfire ensued, and thick smoke billowed above the squat toilets, enveloping the entire restroom. How despicable. A major officer's face twisted in anger. To take advantage while we are occupied. However, the Red soldiers had already fled, adhering to their tactical doctrine of hit and run. After a while, Zhang Jiantao returned, brimming with excitement, and exclaimed to Suda, "Suda, I finally understand the thrill of your previous explosive antics. It has truly rekindled the joy of my childhood. Tell me, how many bare bottoms did you get last time?" "I managed over 50, all by myself." Suda nearly spat blood. "Why did that sound so awkward?" He awkwardly replied. "I forgot. How could you forget something like that? Never mind. Let us not dwell on it. I have to continue." Zhang Jiantao swiftly replaced his magazine and dashed towards the restroom. Suda watched his retreating figure, shaking his head in resignation. It's over. Even the platoon leader has been led astray. Misdeeds truly are contagious. Before long, the entire camp descended into chaos. Numerous blue soldiers picked up their weapons, intent on resisting. Yet, after firing just a couple of shots, the recoil left them trembling, unable to suppress the urge to relieve themselves. Under such circumstances, it was not only difficult to aim, even controlling their muscles was a formidable challenge. Thus, they could only passively endure the onslaught, entirely incapable of retaliating. "Commander, we will cover your retreat." The guards, clutching their rears and with legs tightly pressed together, waddled like penguins, encircling the commander to escort him away. Amidst the cacophony of explosions, none could afford to linger, all straining towards the command vehicle. Regardless of the circumstances, preserving the commander was paramount. Suddenly, a volley of gunfire erupted ahead. The bullets from the light machine gun rained down like a tempest. With no time to evade, all present felt the sting of bullets, their heads throbbing from the impact. Even the commander's helmet quivered, spewing forth a plume of white smoke. It was over. I'm done for. Lin Hui cast aside the machine gun to a comrade and approached with a grin. "Apologies, Commander." The commander raised a hand to interrupt, his expression a tempest of anger, humiliation, and hatred. "I do not wish to hear your words right now. Am I to perish? May I finally relieve myself in peace?" Lin Hui, feeling awkward, replied. "By all means." The commander shot him a fierce glare before hastily sprinting towards the nearest restroom. Inside, it was already crowded. A soldier, upon seeing the commander, hastily adjusted his trousers and saluted, quickly making way. After a cacophony of sounds, the commander's expression eased momentarily. Yet, in a fit of rage, he slammed his fist against the partition wall. "Those Red faction scoundrels are utterly despicable, resorting to such vile tactics against us. They have no sense of honor." Just then, a sheepish voice emerged from above. "Commander, I warned you about those civilians. You simply would not believe me." The commander looked up, his ire directed at Zhu Hao. "You imbecile. If you could produce evidence, would I not believe you? After all these years as a scout, I have been made a fool. You bear the principal responsibility for this fiasco." Zhu Hao felt despair wash over him. "If only you had listened to me from the start, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Now that trouble has arisen, I am the scapegoat. What have I done to deserve this?" The camp was reeking. The potent effects of the drugs had left the blue faction incapacitated for half an hour. Wang Yong gave Chen Eru a thumbs up. "It seems the medication you brought this time is quite powerful, far more effective than what Hui Gu had last time." Chen Eru chuckled. "Indeed. I called back to have the quartermaster procure it from the livestock station. It's so potent that even cattle would be left exhausted, let alone humans. They'll need a while to recover. Consider it a cleansing of their systems." "Hui Gu, what shall we do next?" The others looked at Lin Hui with eager anticipation. This kind of battle was exhilarating, a dual pleasure for both body and mind. No wonder Suda returned boasting about the joy of such an experience. Having tasted it firsthand, they found it truly exhilarating. Lin Hui, observing the fervent gazes, smiled and said, "Let us replenish our ammunition. We shall detonate everything we cannot carry, leave nothing for the blue faction." "Understood." The group quickly gathered explosives and dashed out, well versed in the task at hand. Soon, the camp was filled with the sounds of explosions. All the ammunition in the transport vehicles parked at the entrance was rendered completely useless. Zhou Zhongyi, hands on his hips, surveyed the billowing white smoke around him, his smile wide. "Lin Hui, my lad, you've once again achieved a remarkable feat for our regiment. We've obliterated an entire logistics brigade. Just look at how the Blue Army can possibly recover now. What shall we do next?" Lin Hui's eyes gleamed with a sudden idea. "Let us move to another location for some more fun." He waved his hand, swiftly leading everyone to evacuate. Meanwhile, Within the command center of the Blue Army's 5th Combined Brigade, a lieutenant colonel rushed in, reporting to Lin Fan, Brigade Commander. All units are fully prepared and ready to launch a lightning strike against the Red forces at any moment. Excellent, Lin Fan exclaimed, turning with excitement. Inform all units to initiate the attack in 2 hours, with full firepower. They need not worry about resupply. The supply vehicles are en route and will arrive shortly, ensuring ample ammunition. Understood. The lieutenant colonel nodded, preparing to leave. Suddenly, a communications soldier stood up from his position, reporting loudly. Report, Commander. I have just received news that our logistics brigade has been attacked by the enemy, resulting in total annihilation, and all ammunition has been destroyed. Lin Fan's eyes widened in shock. What did you say? What about our supplies? The communications soldier awkwardly replied. The supply vehicles were unable to depart in time and were destroyed by the enemy. All ammunition is lost. Lin Fan was utterly bewildered. He had just been preparing for a lightning strike, and now the ammunition supply had vanished. How could they possibly engage in battle now? Chapter 177. A dramatic turn of events. Enraged Lin Fan furiously dialed the command center, delivering a scathing reprimand to the logistics brigade commander. If anyone else had dared to speak to the commander in such a manner, Yu Hongsheng would have been furious. However, Lin Fan was one of his most formidable subordinates, and his father, Lin Guangyao, was Yu's superior. Thus, he could only refrain from scolding and attempt to soothe the situation as best as he could. Yu Hongsheng's expression was stern. Lin Fan, it has come to this. Discussing it further is futile. Your current situation is perilous. You must find a way to extricate yourself immediately. You have advanced too far ahead and must quickly retreat to regroup with the main forces. Only then can you coordinate your operations. Lin Fan gradually regained his composure, his mind racing. At the start of the exercise, he had surged to the front to seize the initiative. Now, however, he found himself too distanced from the main forces, making him vulnerable and isolated. Initially, he had confidence that, given sufficient ammunition, he could penetrate the enemy lines. But now, he felt like a knife thrust into the enemy, merely piercing the surface without the necessary power to drive deeper. This shift transformed his previously advantageous position into one of vulnerability. Taking a deep breath, Lin Fan asserted seriously, I will immediately adjust my tactics and find a way to retreat safely. Yu Hongsheng expressed his concerns. You must act swiftly, if necessary. Be prepared to abandon part of your forces to escape the enemy. You are the Blue Army ace. If you are lost, it would be detrimental to our situation. Lin Fan nodded. Understood. As the phone call ended, Lin Fan slammed his fist onto the table, his entire being ablaze with fury. What had once been a favorable situation had abruptly morphed into a disadvantage. He could hardly fathom what the logistics team was doing at such a critical juncture, faltering when it mattered most. It was infuriating. The chief of staff anxiously inquired, Brigadier, what did the commander say? Lin Fan replied with a cold chuckle. What could he possibly say? Is there any alternative to retreat now? We pushed so far ahead, and now we have become the target for others. The room was filled with profound indignation. The logistics team had truly let them down. The brigadier had meticulously arranged this plan a week in advance, calculating every possible detail, achieving near perfection. If executed smoothly, they could have sliced a substantial piece from the Red forces. Yet, who could have anticipated such a debacle? Lin Fan decisively commanded, notify all units to retreat immediately. We must return to the rear and regroup with the main forces at all costs. Yes, everyone turned with fervor. The units swiftly assembled, beginning their tense withdrawal. Lin Fan clutched his abdomen, gritting his teeth. Which scoundrel has sabotaged my plans? When I find you, I shall strip you of your skin. In the Blue Army's command center, Yu Hongsheng was equally enraged after hanging up the phone. The logistics issues not only jeopardized Lin Fan's plans, but posed the most severe threat to his own operations. The logistics brigade, responsible for supplying ammunition to the entire army, had been obliterated. They had suddenly transformed from affluent to destitute, with the latest weaponry rendered useless. Each cannon fired now required a careful tally of remaining ammunition. This was untenable. He had to reverse the situation immediately, lest the battlefield dynamics turn unfavorable for the Blue Army. Yu Hongsheng coldly instructed his subordinates, quick, contact Ho Jun and have him deploy the Wild Wolf Brigade. Yes, the subordinates promptly initiated contact. Meanwhile, in the Red Command Center, the atmosphere was grim. Commander Yin Changhe stared intently at the sand table, his brow furrowed. I need ideas on how to thwart the 5th Combined Brigade's assault. One chief of staff helplessly shook his head. It's impossible to stop them. Lin Fan is like a raging bull. His offensive strategy is flawless. Another chief of staff, with a pained expression, added, the 5th Combined Brigade is the Blue Army's elite force. Since the exercise began, they have advanced like a sharp blade. His tactics mirror those of Guderian and Rommel during World War II, focusing on rapid response. We lack their mobility and firepower, We simply cannot withstand it. In Chang has slammed his palm on the table, furiously stating, I asked you to devise a solution, not to sit here praising the opponent's prowess. Silence enveloped the room as everyone bowed their heads. If a solution existed, it would have been presented by now, and they wouldn't be in this predicament. At that moment, a lieutenant colonel rushed in, breathless with excitement, reporting, Report, Commander. We have just received news that the 5th Combined Brigade has suddenly abandoned their offensive and is rapidly retreating. Everyone was taken aback. In Changha, equally bewildered, exclaimed, Retreat? Were they not poised to launch an offensive? Why are they retreating? The chief of staff beside him furrowed his brow, pondering whether this could be a part of their strategy. In Changha nodded in agreement, sensing the validity in the thought. It was said that Lin Fan possessed extensive combat experience and had been lauded as an exceptional commander by the headquarters leadership. He might very well be deliberately feigning a weakness to lure the Red forces into a trap. The lieutenant colonel hastily shook his head, stating, Chief, they are genuinely retreating. I have received information that the logistics brigade in the Blue Army's rear was bombed, likely leaving them without further ammunition supplies. Which is why the 5th Brigade is urgently withdrawing. In Chang's jaw dropped in shock. The logistics brigade was bombed? Who did it? Was it one of our people? The lieutenant colonel, with a sheepish expression, replied, It wasn't our forces. Could it be that the Blue Army bombed themselves? Is the information credible? Absolutely credible. It has been confirmed. In Chang's demeanor shifted dramatically, filled with excitement. Regardless of the circumstances, their retreat presents us with an unparalleled opportunity to attack. Their abandonment of the offensive is akin to losing 2 arms. With their arms severed, what do we have to fear? He immediately issued orders. Deploy the 32nd, 58th, and 74th regiments to pursue at all costs, hinder their retreat. Additionally, mobilize 2 brigades to encircle them from both flanks, executing a swift pincer movement. Eliminate as many as possible. Ideally, we shall annihilate them completely. Yes. The lieutenant colonel turned and departed to relay the orders. In Chang has sat back in his chair, momentarily relieved. It is as if the heavens are aiding me. But who could have accomplished this? Who among us possesses the capability to silently eliminate an entire brigade of the enemy? At the exercise command center, Lin Guangyao sat on the sofa sipping tea. Suddenly, Chun Guangming rushed over, urgency etched on his face. Old Lin, I have something important to tell you. Lin Guangyao raised an eyebrow, initially thinking it was news of Lin Fan's commendable achievement. He was somewhat aware of Lin Fan's plan, which had fully harnessed the 5th Brigade's advantages. Once the offensive commenced, the Red forces would find it impossible to defend, and defeat was inevitable. He leisurely savored the Bai Luo Chun tea and inquired, What is it? Chun Guangming took a deep breath, fixing his gaze on him. The Blue Army's logistics brigade has been ambushed. Lin Fan has lost ammunition supplies, and the offensive plan has failed. While in the midst of an urgent withdrawal, they have been encircled by the Red forces, and if things go awry, they may face total annihilation. Lin Guangyao spewed his tea across Chun Guangming's face, his eyes nearly bulging in anger. How could it come to this? Which scoundrel bombed the Blue Army's logistics? Chapter 178. My son exhibits the qualities of a great general. Chun Guangming wiped the tea from his face with a handkerchief, glaring at him indignantly. Why did you spray me? Lin Guangyao had no time for banter and pressed for details. Old Chun, quickly explain the situation. You are not jesting with me, are you? Chun Guangming put down the handkerchief and rolled his eyes in exasperation. Do I seem like I am joking? Lin Guangyao understood that in such circumstances, the information shared was undoubtedly true. But how could this happen? How could an advantage transform into a disadvantage? He looked at Chun Guangming and asked, What is Lin Fan's current situation? Also, who bombed the Blue Army's logistics? Which shameless unit of the Red forces dared to ambush the logistics? Others observing nearby also gathered around, intrigued. This news is nothing short of explosive for everyone involved. Even the observers from the Red side are taken aback, their faces reflecting sheer astonishment. They can discern that Lin Fan's assault is undoubtedly a grievous blow to the Red side, one that is likely insurmountable. How could the tides have so abruptly turned? Chun Guangming stated solemnly, The situation has shifted too rapidly. For now, we only grasp the general outline. The 5th Brigade finds itself in a perilous predicament, as the Red side has amassed considerable forces and is relentlessly pursuing vengeance. As for which unit of the Red side was responsible for sabotaging the logistics, we remain uncertain. Even you are unaware? A wave of incredulity washed over the crowd, astonished that even the directing committee lacked this information. Chun Guangming felt quite embarrassed. The exercise area is vast, and the footage captured by their dispatch drones is limited. As for the 2 supervising officers sent to the Blue Army's logistics, it is said they have already been whisked away by the medical team, still in a state of unconsciousness from saline infusion. Hence, they too are in the dark regarding the specifics. Chun Guangming elaborated. However, based on our estimations, the Red side must have deployed no less than a brigade. Someone inquired. Even if it is a brigade, silently dismantling the Blue Army's logistics is no simple feat, is it? There are numerous troops stationed nearby who would respond immediately upon receiving the news. The others gazed at him with curiosity, their minds swirling with questions. War is no trifling matter. Given the Blue Army's logistics are situated so far back, even if the Red side manages to infiltrate, it is implausible that they could eliminate everyone without a sound. It defies logic, even verging on the absurd. At that moment, the chief director approached, exclaiming with resignation. Regarding this, I can provide an explanation. The personnel from the Red side disguised themselves as local civilians, under the pretense of delivering aid, and administered laxatives in the food. Taking advantage of the Blue Army's ensuing distress, they stormed in and eliminated everyone with virtually no resistance. The collective astonishment was palpable. Can this really be happening? Utilizing civilians to obscure their intentions is utterly shameless. What kind of strategy is this? It's downright unscrupulous. The Blue Army's logistics personnel were tragically caught off guard. With their pants down, so to speak, Lin Guangyao wore a peculiar expression, feeling an inexplicable sense of familiarity with this scene. It seemed reminiscent of an earlier exercise in the southwest, where a Blue Army missile battalion had fallen victim in a similar manner, ultimately leading to their annihilation. A sudden realization struck him. Could it be that Lin Hui was behind this? The more he contemplated, the more plausible it seemed. Who else could conceive such a devious tactic? In that moment, he found himself torn between laughter and tears. While the pursuit of victory is commendable, the methods employed are decidedly unsavory. What on earth have I cultivated him into? Day after day, he seems to be either deceiving others or plotting against them. Yet, upon reflection, a flicker of pride ignited within Lin Guangyao. Lin Hui had managed to infiltrate the Blue Army's rear with an entire regiment without anyone noticing, effortlessly dispatching a brigade. Clearly, this lad possesses the qualities of a competent leader, much like his father. At this instant, a fervent discussion erupted among everyone present. They were eager to ascertain which unit from the Red faction had committed the dastardly act. The chief director summoned his subordinates and coldly commanded, "Go investigate immediately. It is imperative we uncover the truth. If we remain in ignorance, what purpose does the directorate serve? It would merely be a gathering of blind men." His subordinates hastily rushed to their instruments, diligently engaged in their tasks. At that moment, Lin Guangyao lifted his teacup, a smile illuminating his face. As a flicker of anticipation stirred within him, he was curious to see if his speculation was accurate, to discern whether that wretched lad was indeed responsible for the misdeeds. 3 hours later, Lin Fan, during his retreat, found himself relentlessly pursued by 3 regiments of the Red faction, simultaneously besieged by 2 brigades on either flank. Despite his desperate resistance, he ultimately lost an entire main force regiment. The remaining troops, while merging with the Blue Army, suffered severe bombardments, incurring heavy casualties. In the end, Lin Fan, accompanied by a battered regiment and an additional battalion, managed to rendezvous with the Blue forces, narrowly escaping utter annihilation. Inside the makeshift command center, Lin Fan kicked over a folding table in frustration, cursing vehemently, "Bastard! Bastard!" It was no surprise that he lost his composure, after enduring numerous battles. This was the most meticulously planned and executed operation he had ever devised. He had conceived the strategy a fortnight in advance, began troop arrangements a week prior, and even visited the training ground multiple times to ensure flawless execution. Yet now, he felt like a stray dog, utterly defeated. The thought of the bombed logistics unit ignited fury within him. Had it not been for the delayed ammunition supply, he would have already breached the Red faction's front lines. He took several deep breaths, striving to regain his composure. "Chief of Staff Liu." "Commander, what are your orders?" Liu rushed in, glancing at the overturned table with a resigned sigh. Having known Lin Fan for so long, it was the first time he witnessed him in such a rage. However, it was understandable. Anyone in his position would seethe with anger. Lin Fan looked at him with a serious demeanor, stating, "This time, I miscalculated. Nevertheless, we still possess remaining forces and the capacity for another battle. Now, disperse our remaining troops to locate the unit that ambushed our logistics. This Red faction unit is undetermined in number, but will not be fewer than 2 regiments, possessing a high level of infiltration capability. Allowing them to remain is a grave danger. We must focus entirely on uncovering the enemy's whereabouts and eradicate them completely." "Understood." The chief of staff immediately felt invigorated. This was the indomitable 5th Brigade. Despite the setbacks on the front lines, if they could locate and eliminate that group, it would still be a significant victory. He swiftly turned to relay the orders. Within the tent, Lin Fan clenched his fists, his eyes filled with determination. "I care not which unit of the Red faction you belong to, for causing me to miss this opportunity. I will not let you escape unscathed." In the jungle, Lin Hui suddenly sneezed. "Who is thinking of me?" Chapter 179. Lin Hui causes trouble. Black Tiger takes the blame. What's wrong? Suda asked, concerned as he looked at Lin Hui. Lin Hui rubbed his nose and replied with a grin. It's nothing. Probably just someone missing me. Suda found himself in a state of bemusement, torn between longing and disdain. The commander of the Blue Army was likely infuriated, as an entire brigade had been rendered ineffective. It was a significant embarrassment, and even if the exercises concluded with a victory, their dignity remained tarnished. Lin Hui chuckled. I act for their benefit. They exhibit no vigilance. How can they hope to achieve triumph? War demands a suspicious disposition towards all matters. Yet, he acknowledged that the blame was not solely theirs. His strategy was undeniably brilliant. Suda, feeling a mix of exasperation and amusement, remarked on the irony of praise leading to such arrogance. Nevertheless, from the perspective of an ordinary soldier, the ability to secure the greatest victory at the least cost was indeed a commendable tactic. Lin Hui turned toward the main force at the rear, clapping his hands and calling out, Everyone, quicken your pace. We must reach region 463 before nightfall. The troops hastened their march, heads down and focused on the path ahead. Suda observed the throngs of soldiers in the mountainous terrain, a smile creeping onto his lips as an inexplicable sensation washed over him, one of a spark that might ignite a raging inferno. At the Blue Army command, Yu Hongxing slammed his palm onto the table, causing the teacups to rattle. He pointed angrily at the corpse of the logistics brigade commander, berating, You incompetent fool. After years of leading troops, I've never witnessed such a disgraceful death. Even if you are logistics, you cannot allow yourselves to be taken down so easily. This is a slap in my face, do you understand? The logistics commander, feeling humiliated, lowered his gaze. Commander, you cannot place the blame solely on us. The enemy was exceedingly cunning, masquerading as civilians. Moreover, it was perplexing that the local populace willingly aided them, even shaving their heads to confuse us. Who wouldn't be bewildered by such a sight? Yu Hongxing opened his mouth to curse, but found himself at a loss for words. The entire village had assisted the Red Army, with men, women, and children all sporting shaved heads. Such an occurrence was unprecedented. Faced with the same situation, he would likely have been equally powerless. The military maintained strict discipline, and under no circumstances could one harm the innocent. After all, these exercises were not true battles. To engage with civilians was tantamount to courting death, even for a general. Yu Hongxing pounded his fist onto the table, frustration evident in his demeanor. This tactic is utterly despicable. They have mobilized the power of the people against us, exploiting our trust in the populace to mislead us. It's revolting. The logistics commander nodded vigorously. Indeed, you often remind us that we are soldiers of the people. Even if the sky were to tear, we could never suspect our fellow villagers. How could we have inadvertently fallen into the enemy's trap? Yu Hongxing, exasperated, pointed at him. Can't you think for yourself? Whatever they say, you believe without question. How can you expect to conduct warfare or lead troops? Have you ever seen a village where every man, woman, and child has the same hairstyle? Because of your negligence, the 5th Brigade has suffered severe losses, and the entire army's ammunition supply has been significantly impacted. You must bear the primary responsibility. The logistics commander was on the verge of tears. Why has all the responsibility fallen upon him alone? With so many combat units and reconnaissance personnel around, how could they fail to detect any foul play? They, being a non-combat unit, are perceived as mere sheep in the enemy's eyes, lacking any capability for resistance. Yet, Yu Hongxing is unconcerned with these details. He directs all his ire towards him. Upon your return, all officers at the company level and above in your brigade must submit a written self-criticism of 20,000 words. For those at the battalion level, 30,000 words. And for the regiment level officers, 50,000 words. He pointed at the logistics brigade commander, exclaiming furiously, You will write 100,000 words, and this will also be noted as a demerit. The logistics brigade commander nearly shed tears at the thought of writing 100,000 words. His hands would surely suffer. Furthermore, with a demerit noted, his prospects for promotion seemed bleak. Yet, there was no alternative. After all, he was accountable for the defeat on the battlefield. Fortunately, it was merely a drill and not an actual combat scenario. Otherwise, the commander could have easily executed him on the spot. Get out. Yes. The logistics brigade commander saluted and left, feeling utterly humiliated. Yu Hongxing turned to the middle-aged man beside him and coldly inquired, Team Leader Ho, what is your perspective? The middle-aged man, with a serious demeanor exuding competence, bore sharp eyes that seemed capable of piercing through all pretenses. He was Ho Jun, the current commander of the Wild Wolf Special Forces in the Southeast War Zone. Ho Jun replied coldly, It should not have been executed by regular forces. Yu Hongxing expressed mild surprise. Are you suggesting that it was the Red Army's special forces that orchestrated this? Ho Jun nodded. While this tactic is indeed insidious, I must admit, it is remarkably clever and quite unexpected. Regular forces could not conceive such a brilliant stratagem. even if they could. They would lack the capability to execute it. He narrowed his eyes. Even if every logistics personnel were incapacitated, the sheer numbers would make it no simple feat to eliminate them effortlessly without alerting the surrounding units. Apart from the Black Tiger Special Forces of the Red Army, I cannot conceive of anyone else capable of such an operation. Furthermore, I suspect they may have deployed an entire battalion. Otherwise, how could they have so easily annihilated thousands? Yu Hongxing nodded in agreement. This notion mirrored his own thoughts. Although the tactics employed by the Red Army were shameless and even somewhat repugnant, actual implementation was no trivial matter. It required formidable coordination and exceptional psychological resilience. Which other unit, aside from the Special Forces, possessed such capabilities? Yu Hongxing regarded Ho Jun and stated earnestly, since it was the Special Forces who executed this, it is imperative that you handle this matter. They have caused us significant losses, and we must ensure they pay the price. Understood, Ho Jun replied confidently, for this was his purpose in coming here. Yu Hongxing continued, Ho Jun, your Wild Wolf ranks among the top 3 of the 7 Special Forces nationwide, while the Red Army's Black Tiger stands behind you. I am unconcerned with the boasts you make in peacetime, but now you must deliver tangible results. Additionally, I have decided to deploy 2 more armored regiments to support you. Command will be bestowed upon you, and you may mobilize them at your discretion. You must locate their whereabouts and eliminate them at any cost. Ho Jun nodded emphatically, assuring everyone, rest assured, the Black Tigers are our old adversaries. We will annihilate them without your prompting. As long as even one of them remains, they will always pose a threat. He saluted and turned away from the command center, swiftly summoning all members of the Wild Wolves. With his hands clasped behind his back, he approached the assembled group and coldly declared, the thunderous Black Tigers have dealt us a grievous blow upon their arrival. Now, I demand that you retaliate with 100-fold effort. Shortly, everyone will disperse in small teams. Locate them and eliminate them. Eliminate them. The group responded with a low roar of agreement. The team promptly split into squads of 3 to 4, spreading through the forest like a pack of wolves, in pursuit of their quarry. Chapter 180. The entire Black Tiger under Lin Hui's command in the dense mountain woods, shadows flitted by. Lin Hui suddenly halted and clapped his hands behind him, instructing, let us pause here for a moment. Regroup. Understood. Everyone promptly began shedding their clothing and smearing mud on themselves for camouflage, executing the motions with practiced precision. Once their disguises were complete, they scattered to forage for food within the forest. Before long, they returned with an ample supply of provisions and crouched down to construct a smokeless stove. The so-called smokeless stove does not entirely eliminate smoke. Rather, it involves digging a few channels to direct the smoke away, thereby containing it. This way, when they ignite a fire to cook, no smoke will betray their location. This technique was also taught to Lin Hui, who learned it from the head of the cooking team, a true master of the craft. In a short span, the group prepared their food and began to relish their meal. To enhance their marching efficiency, they had not brought any food with them, save for a bit of salt to make their roasted fare more palatable. Like a festive gathering around a bonfire, they encircled Lin Hui. Wang Yong, crunching on roasted insects, cheerfully asked, Brother Hui, are we about to achieve great merit again this time? Lin Hui nodded. Indeed, we have accomplished something significant, but we have also stirred up trouble. What? Troubled? The others were perplexed. What trouble could they have caused? Severing the Blue Army's logistics seemed like a commendable achievement. Zhou Zhongyi, sitting cross-legged, looked at him curiously. Lin Hui, why do you say it's trouble? Please elaborate. In response to the puzzled gazes of his comrades, Lin Hui replied calmly. Our actions have triggered a series of chain reactions. With the Blue Army deprived of logistical support and ammunition, any team that dares to advance will face dire consequences. Zhou Zhongyi chuckled, isn't that a good thing? We can strike at them while they are weakened, depleting their strength. Lin Hui shook his head, we cannot celebrate too soon. The Red Army's assaults have not genuinely harmed them, and I have a rough idea of their deployment. While it may seem that we have gained an advantage, as soon as they regain their footing, they will retaliate fiercely against us. Our forces are encircled by the Blue Army, with at least 1/3 of our troops trapped. Even without ammunition resupply, their firepower and mobility surpass ours, leaving us at a disadvantage should a conflict arise. Zhou Zhongyi furrowed his brow and remarked, you are indeed correct. The Blue Army is remarkably composed this time. As long as they are not significantly harmed, the Red Army will struggle to gain an upper hand. What should we do? Wait, Lin Hui replied, nodding. Indeed, the Blue Army likely believes we are special forces, so they will undoubtedly deploy their elite units against us. Upon hearing this, the others chuckled, their faces brimming with pride. Their capabilities had long surpassed those of conventional troops, having even bested special forces repeatedly. It was only natural for the enemy to mistake them for elite units, given their adeptness in infiltration and reconnaissance, skills typically associated with special forces. Zhou Zhongyi smacked his thigh, excitement coursing through him. But wait, If we achieve merit only to be mistaken for special forces, haven't we unwittingly profited? Lin Hui shook his head. Commander, you've misunderstood. This actually works to our advantage. What do you mean? The Blue Army thinks it is our special forces at play and will surely seek revenge. Now, with the Black Tiger unit helping us take the fall, we remain safe. The eyes of everyone brightened instantly. This strategy was simply brilliant. They had committed the misdeeds. Yet the Black Tiger unit would bear the blame. Just imagining it was exhilarating. In essence, even if the Blue Army special forces passed right by them, they might not spare a glance. Why? Because they believed the nefarious acts were the handiwork of the Black Tiger, their anger directed solely towards them, leaving a seemingly inconspicuous grassroots unit unnoticed. Lin Hui suddenly spoke, open the radio, and contact our special forces. I wish to collaborate with them. Zhou Zhongyi, taken aback, asked, collaborate with them? Wouldn't it be better to handle this ourselves? Lin Hui merely smiled, saying, do not question it. I have my reasons. At the Red Army headquarters, Yin Changhe listened to his subordinate's report, bursting into laughter. Excellent. Very well. Let the 5th Brigade's arrogance be tempered. They have now experienced a setback, losing an entire main force regiment. The chief of staff beside him chuckled, Sir, although this battle did not inflict severe damage on the Blue Army, it has set a promising precedent. Yin Changhe nodded in agreement. Indeed, after this battle, our troops' morale has soared, and that is sufficient. At that moment, an announcement rang out. Soon, Lei Ming strode in and saluted Yin Changhe, reporting to the commander, Lei Ming of the Black Tiger Special Warfare Brigade, at your service. Perfect timing, Yin Changhe exclaimed, approaching him with a smile. You executed your tasks splendidly, not only disrupting their logistics, but also greatly boosting our morale. Lei Ming's face flushed with embarrassment. He was unsure how to respond. He had just received Lin Hui's message and was fully aware of the events that had transpired. Thus, hearing the commander's praise left him feeling uneasy. Commander, what troubles you? In truth, we were not responsible for this incident. Yin Changhe wore an expression of utter disbelief. It wasn't you? Aside from your group, who else could possibly orchestrate such a grand affair? With a hint of resignation, Lei Ming elucidated the actual circumstances and conveyed Lin Hui's desire to collaborate with the special forces. Upon hearing this revelation, Yin Changhe's jaw nearly dropped to the ground. So it turns out the Tiger Regiment was behind it all. No wonder they vanished at the start of the exercise. They had already infiltrated the rear while the Blue Army was still fortifying its defenses. Truly remarkable. I must admit I underestimated them. Lei Ming inquired. What about their request for collaboration? We must agree. Yin Changhe decisively proclaimed. Initially, I thought their capabilities were rather mediocre and paid little heed. But I never anticipated they possessed such prowess. Collaborating with the Black Tiger could yield miraculous results. And the command authority? Since they have requested collaboration, it indicates they must have a subsequent plan. You are to follow their command and cooperate with their maneuvers. Lei Ming felt an overwhelming sense of frustration. Previously, in the exercises, they had been outmatched by this very group. Now, the entire battalion was to obey their directives. Noticing Lei Ming's silence, Yin Changhe scrutinized him. What is the matter? Are you facing difficulties? Lei Ming quickly shook his head. I will resolutely obey the command. He saluted and turned away, burdened with resignation. Upon returning to the Black Tiger encampment, he swiftly assembled the personnel. Soon, everyone was gathered and standing at attention. Lei Ming, wearing sunglasses, stood at the forefront and announced loudly, we have received orders from above to cooperate with the Red Army's Tiger Regiment in action. During the operation, we must comply with their command and coordination, myself included. The crowd erupted in uproar, recalling the humiliation they faced during the exercises. Being beaten and tied to trees by the monkeys, their hearts brimmed with discontent. You want us to heed them? I'd rather die. They regarded that regiment as a group of cunning old foxes. Captain, why must we take orders from them? What qualifications do they have to command us? With a fierce growl, Lei Ming silenced them. Enough. The room fell silent, yet their faces were still etched with defiance. Taking a deep breath, Lei Ming solemnly stated, the Tiger Regiment has indeed been our long-standing adversary in previous battles, and we have even suffered losses at their hands. However, now we are allies, and we must unite with unwavering sincerity. Infighting is strictly prohibited. The collective ire of the group diminished somewhat. Past grievances were now irrelevant. They were comrades, and the Blue Army was the true enemy. They still possessed a sense of the larger picture, yet the thought of submitting to external command filled them with reluctance. Continuing, Lei Ming added, moreover, I have another piece of news. The Blue Army's logistics brigade was eliminated by the Tiger Regiment. They managed to stealthily infiltrate the Blue Army's rear and decimate their supply lines, a monumental achievement. They possessed the skill, capability, and tactics. Why should we not collaborate with them? Everyone stood in stunned silence, eyes wide with shock. So, it was they who accomplished this feat? In the military, strength is revered. The Tiger Regiment's capabilities earned them a measure of respect among the ranks. As the exercise progressed, the Black Tiger unit had been solely engaged in reconnaissance and intelligence gathering, having yet to undertake any significant actions. In light of this, it is quite understandable that the higher authorities requested the Black Tiger unit to cooperate with others. Moreover, while those individuals may employ underhanded tactics, they undeniably possess a certain level of skill. Otherwise, during the last exercise, an entire regiment would not have been able to infiltrate the rear and sever communication with the command center. Collaborating with them this time might indeed yield remarkable results. Is everyone ready? Thunder asked. Good, let us set off. With a swift motion of his hand, everyone promptly boarded their vehicles. He quickly ascended into a helicopter, heading towards the predetermined location. After a 2-hour flight, the helicopter descended onto a grassy expanse, where Lin Hui and his team awaited on the ground. As Thunder disembarked, Lin Hui approached, saluting with a cheerful smile and extending his hand. Captain Thunder, it's been a while. Gazing at his face, Thunder was instantly reminded of the bloody scene from the last operation, realizing that this young man was in charge of the current mission. No one else could commit such a thoughtless act. He forced a stiff smile. Comrade Lin Hui, it has indeed been a long time. The higher-ups have ordered our Black Tiger unit to fully cooperate with your actions, so please take good care of us. Lin Hui chuckled mischievously. Care for each other? We're all brothers and comrades. I hope we have a pleasant collaboration. Thunder nodded, feeling an unsettling chill from that smile. Chapter 181. Deception, and more deception soon. Members of the Black Tiger unit began to arrive in succession. Lin Hui remarked to Thunder, the target is too obvious. We need to relocate swiftly to avoid detection by the Blue Army. Thunder nodded in agreement. Let us go. The team undertook extensive camouflage of both the helicopter and vehicles. Once assured of their concealment, they promptly commenced their movement. 2 hours later, Lin Hui led everyone deep into the mountains. As they entered the forest, the Tiger Regiment members scattered autonomously, initiating their camouflage procedures. It seemed as though they had developed an instinct for this, requiring no direction from Lin Hui. As each knew precisely what to do, even the Black Tiger members were left in awe. Li Ming swallowed hard. Is this truly just an ordinary regiment? Have they developed such an awareness for special operations? Without any prompts, the Tiger Regiment members dispersed into the woods in groups of 3. Their camouflage techniques were equally flawless, blending seamlessly with their surroundings. Without close inspection, one could hardly detect any flaws. It was no wonder that during the previous exercise, an entire regiment managed to infiltrate their defenses undetected. Witnessing it firsthand, one could truly appreciate their capabilities. This realization brought a sense of relief. Losing to them was certainly not unjust. Thunder commanded the team to spread out for reconnaissance of enemy positions. Subsequently, he pulled Lin Hui aside, surveying him with a smile. Impressive, young man. You've quietly orchestrated such a significant operation, disguising yourself as a local to trick them into drinking your porridge. Did you mix half a pound of castor beans into that porridge, sending them all to the field hospital? I mean, how did you learn to be so underhanded? Self-taught, I presume? Lin Hui chuckled softly. However, they should be grateful this is merely a drill. Had it been a real combat situation, the pot would not contain mere castor beans, but rather poison. I am merely helping them to remember and learn. Lei Ming nodded slightly in agreement. The purpose of such exercises is to simulate actual combat. On the battlefield, the enemy may deploy women or even children to confuse you. If that moment arrives, even a slight oversight could lead to dire consequences for all involved. The recent surprise attack on the logistics brigade serves as a wake-up call for both the red and blue factions. War has never adhered to rules. It is a matter of either your demise or mine. Lei Ming said solemnly. Enough of that. Let us discuss your plan. What is your next move? The Black Tigers will fully cooperate with you for the sake of victory. Lin Hui smiled and replied, well, I must say this. I want you to act as bait. Lei Ming's mind halted for 2 seconds before he erupted in anger. You expect me, a member of the Special Forces, to serve as bait for you? Have you lost your mind, or just woken up? Lin Hui quickly attempted to placate him. Captain Lei, please do not be angry. Allow me to finish my explanation. Speak nonsense. Lei Ming cursed internally, contemplating abandoning the discussion altogether. Yet, he dared not defy the commander's orders. He decided to hear this fellow out. Convinced he would ultimately refuse the idea, Lin Hui gazed at him with admiration. Captain Lei, to be honest, I have always held great respect for you. And it is not just me. Our entire regiment admires you. He raised his thumb in praise. What are you Black Tigers? You are the Special Forces. The elder brother of the military, the pinnacle of infantry. Lei Ming scoffed, his anger somewhat dissipating. Stop flattering me. Lin Hui laughed. This is no flattery. This is the truth. Who in the entire Southwest Theater does not know that the Black Tigers are the most formidable? He continued, you possess the best weaponry, the most abundant funding, and even your military dogs dine better than we do. Compared to you, our regiment feels utterly inferior. Lei Ming, filled with pride, raised his head. A flicker of arrogance crossing his otherwise indifferent face. Well, do not be too humble. I have seen your regiment, and it is quite capable of forming a consciousness of special operations. You are not far behind us. Lin Hui responded with feigned modesty. What we have hardly qualifies as special operations. We have only scratched the surface, and compared to you, we are leagues away. Lei Ming's initial anger evaporated. Although Lin Hui's flattery was apparent, he spoke the truth. Each special forces unit is forged through immense investment of manpower, resources, and finances by the state. Their strength is undeniably formidable, far beyond what an ordinary unit could compare to. He asked somewhat indifferently, so, about your earlier suggestion for us to act as bait. What do you mean? Lin Hui bent slightly, resembling a humble shopkeeper, and smiled ingratiatingly. Ah, it is entirely my fault for not being clear. I did not intend for you to be the bait. Originally, I wanted our personnel to serve that role. However, our capabilities are insufficient. Should the enemy approach, we would undoubtedly face annihilation. Moreover, if we use our personnel as bait, the effect may not be ideal. Currently, both sides, red and blue, believe that the logistics unit was bombed by you. Your appearance would certainly attract more attention, wouldn't it? Lei Ming nodded in agreement, finding some merit in this reasoning, and continued to listen. Lin Hui further persuaded him. The moment you appear, the Blue Army will undoubtedly chase after you like dogs after a meat bun. At that point, if we can lure them into the traps I have set, won't that fulfill our objective? Of course, I do not wish to impose. If you are truly unwilling, we shall proceed on our own. However, whether the enemy will pursue is uncertain, as we do not possess the fame of your black tigers. If they do pursue, I cannot guarantee our escape. The Tiger Brigade is merely an ordinary grassroots unit with limited capabilities. Lei Ming was elated. What you say indeed holds some truth. This flattery was quite pleasing, striking a chord deep within him. However, Lin Hui was also being pragmatic. In the face of the Blue Army's assault, only the Black Tigers possessed the strength to escape. Seeing that Lei Ming had completely fallen into his trap, Lin Hui seized the opportunity. If you are unwilling, that is acceptable. The special forces are too precious to be used as bait. Wouldn't it be a waste of talent? Let us take on the task instead. At worst, we fail and are annihilated. Lei Ming immediately expressed his displeasure. Comrade Lin Hui, what kind of mentality is this? Although the operation is under your command, my rank is higher than yours, and I must admonish you. Can warfare be treated so lightly? What do you mean by at worst we fail? The operation must succeed. Seeing Lin Hui about to speak again, he interrupted him. Enough, you need not elaborate further. Your strength and capabilities are insufficient. Allow us to draw their attention instead. Lin Hui grasped his arm, a look of guilt on his face. Won't this be too much of a burden on you? Lei Ming waved his hand dismissively. Our goal is victory. Everything else is secondary. Now, tell me where we should lie in ambush and when we should strike. Lin Hui immediately unfurled a map on the ground, pointing to it. I plan to act in the 443 area. That region is densely vegetated, with insufficient light in the woods, making it ideal for concealment and ambush. We will act separately. All you need to do is create a false impression and draw them here. Is it truly that simple? Indeed, it is that simple. Very well. I shall gather the troops and set off immediately. Lei Ming nodded, decisively assembling his team and departing swiftly. Once everyone had left, Zhou Zhongyi approached Lin Hui. Are you really going to use them as bait? Lin Hui shot him a glance. They volunteered for it. Zhou Zhongyi scoffed. He had heard every word of that previous exchange, clearly a result of your persuasion. Do you think they might suffer total annihilation? Lin Hui nodded. It is possible. Zhou Zhongyi's eyes widened in shock. What on earth? And you still let them go? Lin Hui chuckled. Their deaths are their own. What does it matter to us? Moreover, if they die heroically, gloriously, and justly, as long as it leads to victory, they shall all be martyrs. At worst, we can burn a few more joss paper and light some candles for them later. Zhou Zhongyi nodded with a smile, acknowledging, you have a point. But not everyone can be a martyr. Let us set off. Lin Hui swiftly assembled the team, leading everyone towards the 443 region. Chapter 182. The Wisdom of Our Ancestors. Digging cat ear holes. Several hours later, Lin Hui and his team made their way to the 443 region. As they gazed upon the landscape, they noticed that while the trees were not particularly tall, the vegetation was remarkably lush. The slope of the mountain was gentle, with the central area presenting an inverted arc, resembling an upside-down small bowl. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Zhou Zhongyi looked at Lin Hui and inquired, why did you choose such a place? Shouldn't we confront them in the jungle? Lin Hui shook his head. This time, we shall change our location. Constantly bullying them in the forest lacks excitement. We need a bit of novelty to catch the enemy off guard. Zhou Zhongyi's lips twitched. Do you think this is a romantic encounter? They'll be dazzled by us. Yet, he understood that Lin Hui certainly had a strategy in mind, so he asked, what shall we do now? Lin Hui replied with a subtle smile, we shall dig. Dug. Everyone was taken aback. They had traveled such a distance only to dig. Were they to be treated as moles? Lin Hui chuckled. To be precise, we are to dig cat ear holes. The group exchanged bewildered glances, failing to comprehend. Eventually, they collectively turned their gaze towards Zhou Zhongyi, causing his face to flush. Why are you all looking at me? Look at him. He is the commander. Lin Hui began to elucidate. This is a valuable experience passed down from our ancestors. In the past, during warfare, when the enemy had planes and artillery raining down upon us, we survived by digging deep holes, evading their bombardment, and ultimately securing victory. Zhou Zhongyi grasped this principle but remained somewhat puzzled. What does this have to do with the drill? Lin Hui responded with a grin. Commander, I have yet to finish. The Black Tiger forces have already commenced their actions. Once they are lured to this vicinity, surrounded on three sides by holes, they will find it impossible to escape. Even if they sprout wings, even their artillery will be ineffective against our cat ear holes, which are designed to withstand heavy fire. Everyone suddenly understood, giving Lin Hui a thumbs up. This strategy was indeed brilliant. As soon as the enemy arrived, they could attack. If the enemy called for artillery support, they could simply hide in the holes. Now, watch me as I demonstrate. I will dig a standard cat ear hole for you. Lin Hui produced a spade from his pack and, finding a sunny, sheltered slope halfway up the mountain, began to excavate. He flung clumps of earth into the air. A notification chimed in his ear. Ding. Digging ability level 1. In no time, he had excavated a cat ear hole with a diameter of 1.5 meters. Sufficient for a person to enter. Lin Hui addressed the team. Did you all see that? The entrance is small, but the interior is spacious. You should dig accordingly. This cat ear hole was extensively utilized by our predecessors during the conflict with the Monkey Kingdom. In essence, it is a small artillery bunker, a shelter. Once you master this technique, you will find it invaluable for mountain combat. Now get to work. A group of individuals promptly dispersed, brandishing their entrenching tools to seek out suitable spots for digging. Each cat ear hole must be situated on a sunlit slope, sheltered from the wind, not only to facilitate concealment, but also to mitigate the risk of enemy chemical attacks. Such wisdom has been distilled from the hard-earned experiences of our ancestors through numerous battles. The cat ear holes need not be expansive. They should merely accommodate a single individual. However, it is imperative to leave a passage behind the heavy machine gun positions to ensure timely support and relocation. Machine gun emplacements are always prime targets for enemy fire, necessitating frequent repositioning to avoid becoming easy prey for concentrated assaults. Before long, Lin Hui glanced back at the mountain, now riddled with holes, resembling a rabbit warren, an awe-inspiring sight. He chuckled, exclaiming, "Goodness, these fellows must be reincarnated rabbits. They are quite adept at tunneling." Half an hour later, the mountain bore over 1,000 cat ear holes of various sizes, with some machine gun positions connected in a line. Zhou Zhongyi, brimming with pride, inquired, "How about it? Not too shabby, right?" Lin Hui nodded in agreement, grinning as he replied, "It's evident you are a seasoned warrior. Indeed, your work surpasses the others." Zhou Zhongyi beamed with pride. "Of course, how else could I be a battalion commander?" Beside them, Zhang Jiantao, covered in dirt and resembling a beggar, asked Lin Hui, "The holes are ready. What shall we do next?" "Wait inside." Lin Hui shook his head, saying, "No need for that. We must find materials to camouflage these entrances, ensuring they blend seamlessly with the surrounding environment, so much so that even upon close inspection, no flaws can be detected." "No problem." The group set about gathering branches, leaves, and mud to effectively disguise the entrances. Naturally, they had to mark the locations in advance. Otherwise, they might find themselves unable to locate the holes later, which would indeed be awkward. Observing the diligent figures of his comrades, Lin Hui smiled wryly. "Now, we shall await the enemy's arrival." Meanwhile, at the Blue Army's Wild Wolf Special Operations Command, various sophisticated instruments flickered incessantly. A cadre of technicians, their brows furrowed, busied themselves with the equipment. Suddenly, a device emitted a series of beeps, prompting one subordinate to spring up and report loudly. "Report, Commander. We have detected enemy activity." Ho Jun, filled with excitement, responded. "At last, we have located these rascals." He hurried to the device, asking, "At what location?" "In the 430 area." Ho Jun fixed his gaze immediately on the screen, where several red dots were rapidly moving across the 430 region. His brow furrowed as he asked, "Are we certain it's the Red Army's special forces?" The subordinate nodded affirmatively. "Absolutely. Through satellite reconnaissance and low-altitude drone surveillance, we have confirmed their identity. Judging by their direction, they appear to be heading towards our missile battalion." Ho Jun stared intently at the screen for a moment, realizing that his subordinate's assessment was indeed accurate. The Black Tiger's target was the Blue Army's missile battalion in the 430 area. His anger surged. These scoundrels have already disrupted our logistics, and yet they dare to approach us again. They are indeed emboldened. It appears that they intend to dismantle our heavy artillery forces one by one. The cautious chief of staff inquired, Captain, the Black Tiger has been elusive until now. Their sudden appearance, could it be a ruse? Even if it is a deception, what can we do but respond? Ho Jun replied confidently, we shall break through with unparalleled force. Whatever their sinister designs may be, they will prove futile before us. Gather everyone, contact the armored division, and prepare for immediate deployment. I intend to ensure they return not at all. Understood. The chief of staff nodded. Upon receiving the orders, the members of the Wolf Brigade swiftly assembled towards Region 430. The two armored divisions also mobilized rapidly, their tanks and armored vehicles stirring up clouds of dust as they roared forward. Chapter 183. Luring the enemy in, heavy losses for the Black Tiger in the underbrush. Figures crouched low, advancing swiftly. Leading them was none other than Captain Lei Ming of the Black Tiger Brigade. Unable to contain his frustration, Li Ming cast an accusatory glance at Lei Ming and asked, Captain, why must we serve as bait? We are a special operations unit. Lei Ming replied coldly. What of being a special operations unit? Precisely because we must willingly shoulder this responsibility. Li Ming, feeling somewhat aggrieved, retorted, I fail to comprehend. Could we not assign this task to the Tiger Brigade instead? Have you been misled by them? Lei Ming shot him a glare. Nonsense. Who could possibly mislead me? Do you think I became captain by idleness? Li Ming felt a twinge of embarrassment. That is not my intention. I merely think it would be better for us to lie in ambush while they handle this. You overestimate them, Lei Ming scoffed. Though the Tiger Brigade possesses some strength and has begun to develop an awareness of special operations, they are still far inferior to us. The Blue Army has dispatched the Wolf Special Operations Brigade specifically to counter us. They are our old adversaries, and you know their capabilities well. Do you truly believe they can manage? Li Ming fell silent. If that is the case, this task must indeed fall to them. Beyond the Black Tiger, who else among the Red Army possesses the capability to confront the wolves? Should the Tiger Brigade take the lead, they would not merely fail to attract attention. They would likely be annihilated in a single encounter. These fellows may have triumphed in exercises twice before, but those victories were mere clever tricks, not worthy of true recognition. When the stakes are high, it must be the Black Tiger that leads. Luring the enemy in and executing a tactical retreat, no other soldiers can be compared to special forces in such endeavors. It is no wonder the captain accepted this daunting task. For a moment, Li Ming almost believed that the captain had been deceived into counting money instead. Suddenly, an idea struck Li Ming, and he asked, Captain, what if the enemy does not take the bait? The wolves are cunning, especially their captain, Ho Jun, who is always meticulous. Li Ming looked at him and smiled slightly. Rest assured, I have known that old rascal Ho Jun for many years. I know him well. He is the type who will not act until he sees the rabbit. The overall capabilities of the wolves surpass ours. Their weaponry and high-tech equipment are also more advanced. Now that we have revealed ourselves, they have every reason to strike. Li Ming nodded, acknowledging the validity of the statement. On the battlefield, encountering the enemy certainly does not allow for the luxury of suspicion. One must engage decisively when the time calls for action. Should the wolves not fall for the ruse, they would be poised to eliminate the Blue Army's missile unit, which would not be considered a loss in any regard. As they approached the Blue Army's forces, now within a kilometer, Lei Ming resolutely commanded, disperse for reconnaissance. Understood. The team had scarcely spread out when Li Ming suddenly dashed back, exclaiming, Captain, enemy aircraft are approaching. Lei Ming looked up and indeed spotted several dark silhouettes in the sky, rapidly closing in on their position. Retreat, quickly, he gestured emphatically, and the troops began to fall back immediately. In the air, the Wolves' helicopters had locked onto their targets. Team Ho, we have detected the Red Army's special forces below. They are indeed preparing to target our missile unit. Ho Jun, peering through binoculars, smirked coldly. They are deluding themselves. Open fire. Yes. 3 armed helicopters swiftly unleashed their firepower upon the ground. The deafening gunfire sent debris flying into the air. Several Black Tiger special forces, caught off guard, were struck and billowed smoke, while the remainder fled frantically into the woods. The aerial dominance was akin to a father disciplining a wayward child. For any infantryman, an armed helicopter represents a veritable nightmare. In such moments, escape is paramount. Attempting evasive maneuvers is futile. Under the threat of high-velocity bullets, serpentine movements offer no protection and might instead lead to being hit. Watching the Black Tigers scurry like rabbits into the forest, Ho Jun immediately seized the radio to issue orders. Notify all nearby units to converge and encircle them. They must not escape. Soon, all nearby Blue Army forces were mobilized, including 2 armored battalions racing towards the scene. At this moment, Lei Ming and the remaining personnel had already taken refuge within the woods. The dense foliage made it nearly impossible for the helicopters to deliver effective firepower. Nevertheless, the Blue Army helicopters remained overhead, circling and awaiting their opportunity. Li Meng, in a state of urgency, remarked, "Captain, just like that, we've lost a quarter of our men. We must retreat quickly. The Blue Army has likely summoned everyone to engage us." Lei Ming gritted his teeth, insisting, "It is not yet time. Organize a counterattack. We must strike back." Understood. Li Ming had no doubts. The black tigers and wolves were sworn enemies. When they encountered each other, it was typically a fight to the finish. Li Ming led his men, armed with 40mm firepower, to a relatively open area. Without hesitation, he aimed his scope at one of the helicopters hovering above. Fire. Whoosh. A volley of rockets soared into the sky. Ho Jun, sensing something amiss, ordered the pilot to ascend, narrowly avoiding several shells. However, one helicopter was not so fortunate, taking 2 direct hits and erupting in a plume of white smoke indicative of its destruction. "Yes, we've down one." Li Ming cheered with exhilaration. Those around him shared in his joy. With one less helicopter, the threat had diminished significantly. Thunder reminded nearby, "It's time to go." Li Ming and his companions swiftly stowed their rocket launchers, retreating rapidly alongside the others. Through the sparse gaps in the treetops, they observed the Black Tiger forces hastily withdrawing below. Ho Jun's face flushed with anger as he followed suit, determined to see where they fled. Soon, the majority of the Blue Army converged from various directions. At this moment, the Wild Wolf Special Forces entered the jungle, initiating their pursuit. To encircle the Black Tigers, they had dispatched 3 squads. On either side of the forest, 2 armored units from the Blue Army advanced in coordination along the mountain path, poised for artillery bombardment at a moment's notice. Suddenly, Thunder made a tactical gesture, split up and set traps. The Black Tiger personnel quickly dispersed. After running a short distance, they halted and commenced laying traps within the woods. The Special Forces were adept in jungle warfare, had they not encountered Lin Hui and his underhanded tactics. Their prowess could easily have overwhelmed any conventional force. Even the Wild Wolf Commandos would face dire consequences. Before long, the traps were meticulously arranged. Li Ming sprinted to Thunder, panting heavily. "Captain, the traps are set." A glint of cold determination flickered in Thunder's eyes. "Excellent. Now we shall confront them. Let them reckon with both old and new grievances. They will learn we are no easy prey." Excitement surged in the eyes of all, brimming with fervent battle spirit. For the past 2 years, they had been defeated by those very adversaries. Yet the indignation lingered within, fueling their desire for revenge the following year. Now, the opportunity had finally arrived. Thunder smirked coldly. "Everyone, spread out and engage freely. Let those wolf cubs understand our might." Yes, the group swiftly fanned out into the forest, their eyes ablaze with murderous intent. Soon, the entire forest fell into an eerie silence, yet danger lurked in every corner. Chapter 184. The 3 prongs of the Wild Wolf Brigade. The Wild Wolf personnel followed the trail, tracking their quarry. By observing the broken vegetation and faint footprints, they soon ventured deeper into the woods. The squad leader noticed the unusual stillness around them and furrowed his brow, whispering a warning. "Something's off? Everyone, stay alert." No sooner had he spoken than a shout erupted from nearby. A Wild Wolf commando had triggered a trap, suspended upside down by a rope, swinging helplessly in the air. "There's a trap. Everyone, be cautious." The surrounding comrades immediately aimed their weapons outward, on high alert. Meanwhile, the suspended commando drew his dagger and swiftly severed the rope without a moment's hesitation. However, during his descent, the unmistakable crack of a gunshot rang out. Bang! Upon landing, he discovered wisps of white smoke emanating from his helmet. Pointing toward the source of the gunfire, he bellowed furiously, "Damn it! I've been hit." Witnessing this scene, the nearby Wild Wolf soldiers instinctively reacted, diving to the ground. Just as they prepared to seek cover, the surrounding brush suddenly erupted. Concealed Black Tiger commandos swiftly opened fire. Bang! 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 The bullets whizzed through the forest, swiftly dispatching several of the adversaries. Eliminate them. The members of the Black Tiger unit swiftly dispersed in various directions, engaging the Wolf unit in solitary combat. They formed no discernible formation, scattering chaotically as they fought independently, each one freely firing their weapons. Each individual operated as a miniature combat team. There was no escape. 3 elite wolf soldiers relentlessly pursued from behind. Li Ming moved like the wind, one hand propped against a wooden stake, effortlessly leaping over an obstacle before him. Upon landing, he swiftly pivoted a full 180 degrees, using the wooden stake as cover, aiming his weapon at the approaching pursuers, his finger rapidly pulling the trigger. Bang! 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 With just 3 shots, the 3 assailants were dispatched in rapid succession. Li Ming's marksmanship ranked among the top 3 in the Black Tiger unit. Even while in motion, he could halt abruptly, lock onto his target, and strike with precision. Nonetheless, his prowess paled in comparison to Lin Hui, who was a true anomaly. "Watch out!" a teammate shouted from a distance. prompting Li Ming to react immediately. He crouched low, propelling himself off the wooden stake with force, gliding swiftly along the ground. In the next moment, several bullets struck the very spot he had just vacated. Li Ming, tracking the gunfire, quickly repositioned, aiming his weapon at the wolf soldier firing from afar. As he pulled the trigger, the enemy's helmet reverberated, a plume of white smoke rising. The soldier stood momentarily dazed, astonished by the swiftness of the counterattack. The Black Tiger unit, utilizing their high mobility and unorthodox tactics, soon began to yield remarkable results. In the forest, members of the wolf unit were continuously ambushed. On the helicopter, Ho Jun, having assessed the situation, promptly issued tactical commands. Upon receiving the orders, the wolf soldiers at the rear swiftly readied their grenade launchers, directing fire towards the concentration of Black Tiger personnel. Boom, boom, boom. Grenades cascaded from above. Take cover, Li Ming shouted, and those nearby immediately dove to the side, seeking shelter. Before they could raise their heads, a hail of bullets whizzed overhead. The wolf unit, wielding 3 squad-mounted heavy machine guns, unleashed a furious barrage. The wolf squad leader bellowed, "Fire with all your might. Snipers, keep them in your sights. Anyone who dares to show their head, blow it off. Rest assured, with me here, they won't dare to expose themselves." Meanwhile, the wolf snipers occupied prime positions, their rifles ever ready to target any potential enemy exposure. Should anyone shift positions or reveal themselves, they would be swiftly and accurately neutralized. Under the relentless assault of the wolf unit, the Black Tiger unit began to falter, suffering further casualties in a matter of moments. Li Ming lay flat against the ground, shouting toward Li Ming in the distance, "Captain, we're on the verge of collapse. The enemy's firepower is overwhelming. Grenades, heavy machine guns, and snipers. We don't even have the chance to retaliate. What should we do?" Li Ming, equally disheveled, silently thanked his stars that they had arrived. If Lin Hui and his team had faced such firepower and tactical coordination, they surely would have crumbled. Estimating that a single encounter could lead to utter annihilation, only the Black Tigers could endure for so long. Thunder roared in response, "We must persist. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, the mission must be accomplished. To ensnare the enemy, the most effective method is to embody authenticity. Only through the most genuine reactions can we disarm their vigilance and entice them to pursue without hesitation." Indeed, Li Ming found himself with no alternative but to lead his men in a fierce resistance. They ceaselessly deployed grenades and smoke bombs to impede the enemy's advance. In the distance, the captain of the wolf pack observed the scene with a smirk. "Quite resilient, aren't they? Still refusing to retreat? Very well, let us eliminate them all. Prepare for an assault, teams." With a single command, the wolf pack members swiftly assembled, forming groups of 7 to 8, advancing in a serpentine formation with a carpet-like progression. The first soldier would attack, the second would provide suppressive fire, and the third would offer support. Once the frontline soldiers completed their assault, they would quickly retreat to the rear, creating an unending barrage of firepower as they pushed forward. Bang, 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 rat-a-tat-tat, boom, boom. The wolf pack's ammunition seemed inexhaustible as they unleashed a relentless bombardment upon their foes. The Black Tigers suffered casualties, with many struck down or blasted by artillery, their bodies enveloped in white smoke. At that moment, Ho Jun had descended into the woods via rope, witnessing the continuous fall of enemies. He erupted in gleeful laughter. They were never our match before, and they remain so now. This is the price you pay for ambushing our logistics. Advance with full force and eliminate them all. Yes, the Wolf Special Forces hastened their advance, intent on annihilating the enemy in the woods. As Li Ming observed the enemy charging forward, a sense of urgency gripped him. "Captain, we've already lost over half our men. If we continue, we'll face total annihilation." Thunder's heart ached at the thought. Originally commanding a large battalion, they were now reduced to fewer than half. The cost was unbearably steep. That scoundrel Lin Hui would owe me a few rounds of drinks upon our return. "Retreat. Immediate withdrawal," Thunder commanded, and all personnel swiftly fell back. Witnessing the bodies of their comrades, they were filled with a sense of bitterness. They had anticipated leveraging their positional advantage, only to be met with a swift counter from the enemy, leading to their grievous losses. The emotional turmoil was profound. As Thunder retreated, he remarked, "We have done all we could. Now it rests with Lin Hui and his team." Li Ming seethed with anger. "If they dare to squander our sacrifices, I swear I will deal with them." Thunder gritted his teeth, nodding solemnly. "If this brat dares to disappoint us, I will ensure he is bound and used as a target, executed in half an hour." Chapter 185. A Gift of Glory. The Black Tigers retreated expeditiously, each soldier fleeing faster than a hare. "Captain, they're attempting to escape." Ho Jun sneered coldly. "They won't get away. Full speed ahead." The Wolf Special Forces tossed their weapons behind them, pursuing with fervor. As Li Ming sprinted forward, He frequently glanced back to ascertain whether the enemy was gaining on him. Concerned that his companions might fall behind, he dared not accelerate too rapidly, opting instead to intermittently slow his pace to counterattack. Seizing upon the advantageous terrain ahead, he issued a command. The Black Tiger squad advanced a short distance before halting abruptly, utilizing the landscape to establish a defensive position. They aimed their weapons toward the pursuing adversaries and retaliated with swift precision. The foremost members of the Wolf Special Forces, caught unawares, were immediately engulfed in a cloud of smoke as they fell victim to the onslaught. Take cover. The Wolf soldiers reacted quickly, dropping to the ground. Ho Jun, observing the scene, erupted in laughter. They still dare to retaliate, utterly oblivious to their impending doom. It appears they are driven by a fierce desire to avenge their fallen comrades. The more they resisted, the more it pleased him. This was but the enemy's desperate struggle for survival. Ho Jun coldly commanded, suppress their fire, spread out the formation, and eliminate them all. The Wolf squad, momentarily slowed, resorted once more to their previous tactics, unleashing grenades upon the distant positions. The explosions wrought havoc among the Black Tiger ranks, leading to significant casualties. Subsequently, 3 machine guns were stationed on the ground, unleashing a torrent of fire towards the Black Tiger stronghold. The bullets rained down like a tempest, wreaking havoc with devastating force. In a single encounter, dozens of Black Tiger soldiers perished, and the remaining forces found themselves overwhelmed by the relentless barrage. They could only retreat while continuing to fire. Yet many continued to fall along the way. Witnessing the growing number of casualties, Lei Ming's heart ached. Out of an entire battalion, only about 100 remain. Lin Hui, you fool, if you squander this precious opportunity, I shall hold you accountable. Just then, a wolf sniper took aim at Lei Ming from a distance. Goodbye. The sniper pulled the trigger. At the moment the shot rang out, Li Ming lunged, pulling Lei Ming aside into the nearby brush, narrowly avoiding the bullet. Lei Ming lifted his head, expelling a mouthful of grass, and turned to see Li Ming, now enveloped in a cloud of yellow smoke indicating injury. Captain, are you all right? I'm fine. Lei Ming replied hastily. We must move. Quickly, the 443 area lies ahead. If we can draw them there, our mission will be complete. Li Ming, disregarding his wounds, nodded vigorously. Let us hope our sacrifice is not in vain. Otherwise, we shall truly suffer at Lin Hui's hands. Retreat. With a resounding shout, the remaining Black Tiger soldiers discarded their weapons and sprinted towards the 443 area. They intend to flee. The Wolf Squad leader promptly reported to Ho Jun, revealing a cold smirk, opened a map, noting, ahead lies a desolate mountain, surrounded on 3 sides, devoid of any cover. Fleeing there is a dead end. He seized the radio and issued an immediate command to the armored division. The enemy is retreating to the 443 area. Accelerate your pursuit and cut them off before they escape. As long as we catch up, we shall unleash a relentless barrage upon them. I intend to leave them utterly annihilated. Indeed, the commander of the armored unit echoed with palpable excitement. The 443 region is a desolate mountainous terrain. Fleeing in that direction is tantamount to a dead end. It seems the Red Special Forces have truly reached a point of no return, compelled to act in desperation. Accelerate to full throttle and charge forth with all speed. The roar of the engines reverberated powerfully. All tanks and infantry fighting vehicles surged forward at breakneck speed along the mountain road. Their objective is to encircle and obliterate the Red Special Forces entirely within the 443 region. Simultaneously, in the Blue Army Command Center, Yu Hongxing received a call from Ho Jun on the front lines, instantly brightening his spirits. What did you say? The Red Special Forces have been reduced to just a few dozen? Surely you're not fabricating a false report? With unwavering confidence, Ho Jun replied. Chief, our Wild Wolf unit never acts with ambiguity. Under our relentless assault, the Black Tigers have suffered grievous losses and are now cornered. Within 2 hours, I shall eradicate them completely. Excellent. Yu Hongxing exclaimed with excitement. Indeed, only special forces can triumph over special forces. The prowess of your Wild Wolf unit is not mere legend. You truly are the foremost blade of the Southeast. Once this battle concludes, I shall commend you for your efforts. Thank you for your praise, Chief. After ending the call, Ho Jun wore a triumphant smile. As anticipated, they had previously been unable to contend with the wild wolves, and now they still could not. What of setting traps in the woods? What difference would it make? Under the overwhelming firepower and coordinated tactical assaults of the wild wolves, the enemy's defenses crumbled like paper, easily breached. In the Blue Army Command Center, Yu Hongxing beamed with joy, eager to relay this good news to the 5th Brigade. Upon hearing it, Lin Fan became exhilarated. Splendid. Those rascals are finally paying the price. Yu Hongxing nodded with a smile. Your vendetta has been avenged by the wild wolves. While the Red Special Forces are besieged, with their attention diverted, I plan to adjust our deployment and launch a counterattack immediately. This task will be entrusted to you. Is that agreeable? Lin Fan nodded, though cautiously inquired. Chief, this time at 1TB like last time, where we faltered at a critical moment, will it? Yu Hongsheng laughed heartily. Certainly not. The Wild Wolf commander, Ho Jun, personally assured me over the phone that within 2 hours, he will completely obliterate them. Hearing this, Lin Fan felt a profound sense of reassurance and said with a grin, with such assurance, I can proceed boldly. This time, I shall forcefully tear open a breach in the red lines and penetrate their defenses. Yu Hongsheng replied earnestly, I will arrange for 4 regiments to support you on both flanks. As long as you can break through ahead, we will follow up at any moment. This time, we shall not repeat the previous mistakes. Lin Fan nodded gravely. He intended to settle both new and old scores in one decisive strike. Only thus could he quell the resentment he harbored from before. As for the Red Special Forces, they are merely a collection of corpses now, with little left to discuss. Regrettably, they could not personally eliminate their adversaries, yet the outcome remains unchanged. In the 443 region, Lei Ming sprinted alongside the remaining members of the Black Tiger squad, exerting every ounce of energy within them. Each individual was drenched in sweat, having never exerted themselves so vigorously in their lives. We're almost there, Li Ming exclaimed with excitement, pointing ahead. Before them lay the rendezvous point he had agreed upon with Lin Hui. A collective sigh of relief was released. They had succeeded in luring the enemy. Lei Ming promptly commanded, turn on the walkie-talkies. They had maintained radio silence out of concern for detection by the Blue Army. However, now that they had arrived, there was no need for further concealment. Establishing contact with Lin Hui was imperative. Hello, this is Lei Ming. We're almost there. Lin Hui's voice quickly came through. I see you. Just head towards me, at 2 o'clock. We'll strike once everyone is out of danger. Concerned that Lin Hui might inadvertently fire upon their own, Lei Ming felt compelled to issue a warning. Lin Hui chuckled. Don't worry, am I really that disloyal? Leave the rest to us, you can rest easy. As the call ended, Lei Ming's lips twitched in irritation. This fellow certainly had a knack for provoking annoyance. He waved his hand, urging everyone to accelerate as they sprinted ahead, pursued by the Blue Army. Concealed within a cat-ear-shaped hole, Lin Hui kept his gaze fixed on the distance, and soon, a multitude of shadows emerged behind the Black Tigers. Simultaneously, a legion of armored beasts stirred up clouds of dust, charging toward them. My goodness, Zhou Zhongyi exclaimed, his eyes nearly popping out. What, there's an armored division? I thought we were only up against special forces. How did they bring so many? Lin Hui smiled faintly. What is there to fear? Let them come, we'll take them all on. These are merely opportunities knocking at our door. Zhou Zhongyi appeared speechless. Are you certain they aren't the ones with the advantage? I can't shake the feeling that we are more like prey. Chapter 186. The number of those who hate me grows. Who does he think he is? Lin Hui turned to Zhou Zhongyi and inquired, what heavy weaponry do we have? 40mm cannons. Zhou Zhongyi pondered for a moment before adding, and a few heavy machine guns. The Tiger Brigade, a mechanized infantry unit, had recently upgraded its arsenal, acquiring numerous new equipment. However, as they were unsuitable for this exercise, Lin Hui had discarded them all. Everyone traveled light, apart from the 40mm cannons. Their heavy weaponry consisted solely of light and heavy machine guns. After all, traversing the forest on foot with excessive gear would hinder their pace. That will suffice. We can engage them. Upon hearing Lin Hui's assertion, Zhou Zhongyi paused, his expression filled with questions. Is that really enough? They have dozens of tanks, at least 2 battalions, not to mention armored vehicles and support. Our equipment will hardly tickle them. Zhang Jiantao also crawled through from behind, awkwardly stating, Lin Hui, are you truly planning to use 40mm cannons against tanks? The Blue Army's tanks are the new models, the 85 and 90. The old ones we used could manage against the 40mm, but the new tanks have significantly thicker armor. The 40mm 1T penetrate it all. Shouldn't we consider alternative strategies? How about having the Black Tiger and his team attach explosives and use them as human bombs? Lin Hui, if Lei Ming finds out, he will certainly express his gratitude. Thank you and your entire family. Zhou Zhongyi shot him a glare. What nonsense. They are already in such dire straits. With barely 100 left in the entire battalion, and you still suggest such a thing? Is that not lacking in morality? He turned to Lin Hui and said earnestly, frankly, setting aside the moral implications, I believe this method could be feasible. Lin Hui nearly choked. When did you become so cunning, Commander? They are already suffering enough. Let us show some compassion. Zhou Zhongyi chuckled. I merely mentioned it casually. They might not even agree. Do we have any other alternatives? Let us bombard with the 40mm. Lin Hui smiled faintly. If one shell fails to penetrate, we will launch 2 or 3. Even if we cannot destroy the tank, we can surely rattle the crew inside. The group instinctively swallowed hard. This truly is a stroke of genius. If we cannot destroy the tank, we will target those within it. In actual combat, this scenario is indeed plausible. After all, a tank is made of metal, which has a lesser attraction. If we bombard repeatedly, even if the crew isn't killed, they will surely be deafened. Zhou Zhongyi expressed doubt. Is this method reliable? What if the command center deems our attack ineffective? As long as the tank does not smoke, they will certainly not cease fire. After all, this is not a real battle. The results will vary significantly. I anticipated this. Lin Hui chuckled. Wait a moment. You all quietly approach from the side and conceal yourselves at the foot of the mountain. When the opposing armored unit arrives, you will flank them, directing your 40mm fire at their undercarriage, fuel tanks, and the areas where their armor is weakest. The group's eyes lit up. This plan is excellent. No matter how formidable a tank may be, it has vulnerable spots. As long as we can find a good position to concentrate fire on those weak points, it is quite feasible to eliminate them. Of course, this requires impeccable coordination. We must fire simultaneously and accurately. Lin Hui continued. You all conceal yourselves first. I will lead a group to attract the enemy's attention from the front. Then you can strike. We will catch them off guard. Zhou Zhongyi gave a thumbs up. Utterly impressed. Lin Hui, when it comes to cunning, you truly excel. If we infantry manage to take down the armored unit, the Blue Army will surely despise you. Lin Hui proudly lifted his chin. There are many who resent me. They are but a few. Now, let us hurry. The enemy will arrive shortly. Zhou Zhongyi nodded with a smile and personally led the team, stealthily moving with a group towards the foot of the mountain, armed with the 40mm. Meanwhile, Lei Ming and the remaining Black Tiger team had already reached the foot of the mountain. After scanning the area, they found no sign of Lin Hui. Lei Ming furrowed his brow. Where's that guy Lin Hui? Li Ming snorted. He must be hiding somewhere. These fellows are masters of deceit. Lei Ming nodded, saying nothing further. He simply led his men towards the original planned direction. Suddenly, a narrow gap appeared on the right side of the mountain, and a shadow flickered within. What on earth is that? Lei Ming was startled, and so was Li Meng, who almost drew his weapon. Fortunately, Li Ming reacted swiftly and stopped him, saying, Do not fire. It must be our own people. Li Meng peered through the gap and indeed saw someone inside, grinning mischievously. How ingenious. Hiding here like a giant rat. Lei Ming swept his gaze across the area and discovered numerous such holes, each concealing a figure. Cat's ear holes. As the captain of the Black Tiger Brigade, Lei Ming instinctively thought of these 3 words. At that moment, he could not help but admire Ling's cleverness. He had ingeniously revived an ancestral tactic and camouflaged the entrances. Even they had only noticed upon approaching. A sly smile appeared on Ling's face. It seemed the Blue Army was in for a significant surprise. He coldly ordered, Wait for my command. When the opportunity arises, we will counterattack and annihilate those blue soldiers. The others were momentarily taken aback. But upon glancing at their comrades hidden in the holes, they broke into mischievous smiles. While others were unaware of these covert tactics, they had experienced them firsthand. With the crafty Tiger Regiment involved, the upcoming battle appeared secure. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from the rear. 2 Black Tiger soldiers were caught off guard and fell, smoke rising from their bodies. Lei Big turned back, fuming. They came surprisingly fast. Retreat for now, and we will make them pay later. Yes. The others immediately hastened their withdrawal. The pursuing wild wolves, seeing the Black Tigers fleeing, assumed victory was assured and became even more exhilarated. You cannot escape. Bullets whizzed forward relentlessly. Several Black Tiger soldiers, lagging behind, were struck down by the relentless fire. Ho Jin, observing through binoculars, saw the Black Tigers fleeing like lost dogs, and his smile grew broader. This was what true strength looked like. In terms of tactics and weaponry, the Wild Wolves far surpassed the Black Tigers. Was it any wonder that the Black Tigers had lost to them in every major competition? Ho Jin's eyes gleamed with pride. Even the most formidable of opponents eventually succumbed to the might of the Buddha's hand. This time, no matter how they tried to flee, they would not escape. He coldly commanded, Surround them. Not one shall be spared, for leaving even one behind is a disaster. Yes, the Wild Wolves surged forward with relentless determination, scattering to form an immense encirclement, ready to engulf the remnants of the Black Tiger forces. One Wild Wolf Special Forces soldier pursued until he reached a concealed cat's ear hole. Suddenly, he felt the ground beneath him give way. A trap. Instinctively, he dodged, but a noose shot up from the very spot where he had just stood. Such childish tricks, how dare they employ them? He scoffed, ready to press on, only to discover an unexpected hole had appeared before him. Its entrance was modest, about 60 centimeters wide, reminiscent of a village shrine. From within the dimly lit cavity, a dark, large head suddenly emerged, grinning wickedly at him. The scene was as bizarre as it could possibly be. Young man, would you care to come in and have a seat? My goodness. The fellow was so startled that he hastily retreated, landing unceremoniously on the ground. Whoosh. A massive net sprang up from the earth, encasing him like a silkworm cocoon, suspended from a crooked tree. What on earth was happening? Others rushed forward, inquiring about the situation. He pointed into the distance, his eyes wide with terror, as if he had seen a ghost. There are people. Many, many people. Several members of the wolf squad turned in unison, only to discover multiple caverns had appeared on the mountain, densely packed like a beehive. Within each cavern, a grotesque head emerged, cackling maniacally at them. It was 10 times more exhilarating than a horror film. Wang Yong stuck out his tongue, beckoning them over. Come on, come play. Good heavens, ghosts in broad daylight. The wolf squad members trembled in fear, collapsing to the ground, nearly wetting themselves. Chapter 187. Why are special forces engaging in such deception? They are not ghosts. They are our red team. One of the wolf squad members suddenly realized. Just as he was about to raise his weapon to aim at the cave, bang. Wang Yong's gun discharged first, a jet of flame erupting from the barrel. A gust of air struck precisely between the opponent's legs. Though the exercise utilized blank cartridges, within 5 meters, it still held considerable impact. The wolf soldier recoiled as if struck by a hammer, tears springing to his eyes as he cursed. Damn it, why hit there? I still want to continue my lineage. He fell to his knees, facing the cat-eared cave. Wang Yong grinned at him. What lineage can the dead continue? Hurry up and reincarnate. He pulled the trigger again, hitting the opponent's helmet. The helmet buzzed and vibrated, swiftly releasing a thick cloud of white smoke. Simultaneously, gunfire erupted from the nearby caverns, with their occupants firing upon the wolves. Oh no, my precious. This is going to end badly. Numerous wolf soldiers doubled over in pain, howling in agony. It wasn't that the tiger team aimed to be some sort of Terminators. The entrance to the cat-eared cave was merely 50 to 60 centimeters wide, extending a gun barrel out precisely aimed at the enemy's lower abdomen. To strike at the upper body, they would have to stick their heads out, re-aim, wasting precious time and risking danger. Instantly, over 20 of the frontline wolf special forces collapsed to the ground. Their an ambush, retreat. The wolf squad captain suddenly realized. Shouting urgently, the others quickly regrouped into tactical formations, fighting and retreating, preparing to exit the area. Just then, a fierce gunfire erupted from behind. The wolf soldiers turned in shock to find that the black tiger team had flanked them from behind and was charging back. Fight back, hit them hard. Lei Ming unleashed all his fury upon the enemy. The wolves were caught off guard and fell in droves. Now they were surrounded by enemies, and they could only fight through and seek an opportunity to break free. Fortunately, the enemy's numbers were not overwhelming. A breakthrough seemed feasible. Advance to the front and counterattack. The captain of the wolf squad was about to issue his orders when a sudden cacophony erupted from the mountains behind him. He slowly turned his head, and what he beheld nearly caused his eyes to bulge in disbelief. On the mountain behind, countless openings dotted the landscape, resembling a lotus seed pod, scattered yet remarkably spectacular. Moreover, each opening concealed an individual. The captain swallowed hard, exclaiming, "What on earth? How many are there? Have they hollowed out the mountain?" Abruptly snapping back to reality, he screamed in terror, "Retreat! Quickly! It's a trap!" As the saying goes, 2 fists cannot contend with 4 hands, especially when thousands of hands are involved. It was simply impossible to fight back. While the captain shouted, he opened fire, and his comrades were equally terrified. Bewildered by the sudden emergence of so many foes, there must be an entire battalion. From atop the mountain, Lin Hui gazed down at their frantic retreat with a cold smirk. The fat meat is on the table, and you think you can escape? Fire! With a single command, the entire mountain seemed to tremble. Gunfire erupted from every direction, creating an impenetrable web of bullets that descended upon the wolf special forces. In an instant, the enemy suffered substantial casualties. The black tiger forces blocked their path, leaving the wolves with no chance of escape. With each gunshot, another member of the wolf special forces fell. In the blink of an eye, the 2 squads were reduced to fewer than 30 individuals. The captain, in a state of disarray, hid in a patch of grass and reached for his radio. Just as he prepared to call for the battalion commander, something hard pressed against his backside. "Don't move." Chun Eru chuckled menacingly. "Dare to shift, and I'll make your backside bloom." The captain, terrified, hastily discarded the radio and cradled his head, fearing that the gun behind him might discharge unexpectedly. He certainly did not wish to end up in a hospital for rectal treatment. Soon, the battle in this area concluded, with the 2 squads of wolves entirely annihilated. Lei Ming approached with a grin, rifle in hand, and looked at the captain on the ground, saying, "I gave you a chance, but you proved inept. What do you call this? Unable to prevail, you were instead outmaneuvered." The captain nearly exploded with fury. "You actually resorted to trickery. How shameless. All's fair in war, understand?" Lei Ming patted his face and casually drew a line with a red pin across his neck. "All right, you're done for. You can rest peacefully now." The captain pounded the ground in frustration, his eyes filled with resentment and rage. "I've never encountered such a treacherous special forces unit. It's simply despicable. Commander, we have trouble ahead." A subordinate rushed back, breathless, reporting urgently, The wolves were ambushed while pursuing the enemy. The entire force has been wiped out. The commander of the Blue Army's armored division felt his eyes burning with anger. What did you say? The subordinate quickly replied. In the 443 area, the enemy has extensively excavated the mountains, hiding at least a battalion of troops. The Black Tigers deliberately lured them there to encircle and annihilate the wolves. The armored division commander slammed his fist against the tank, causing his hand to go numb. Despicable. Truly despicable. The special forces have resorted to cunning tactics, which is truly unexpected. They are fond of ambushes, so let us transform that place into their graveyard. Dispatch the order. Concentrate the artillery fire of all tanks and obliterate that mountain ahead, leaving nothing but dust of the enemy. Understood. All tanks immediately adjusted their turrets, preparing to unleash a barrage upon the mountain. Regardless of any ambush or traps, a single round of shells would spell their doom. While they busied themselves finding positions and adjusting their turrets, they failed to notice shadows darting swiftly through the grass on either side. Zhou Zhongyi led his men to the flank, crouching down as he swiftly commanded. Follow Lin Hui's instructions, targeting their undercarriages, fuel caps, and the vulnerable positions on the sides and rear. If one shot isn't sufficient, then two. If two aren't enough, then three. We must render these tanks inoperable. Yes. The group quickly hoisted their 40mm rockets, dispersing. 3 men formed a team, focusing their fire on the weak spots of a single tank. Boom, boom, boom. Many Blue Army tanks, just as they were about to aim and fire, suddenly fell silent, leaving the tank crews bewildered. What just happened? Why have we stopped? Is it malfunctioning? There is no response at all. Many tanks were emitting thick plumes of smoke from beneath their hulls. The effectiveness of the 40mm against tanks is generally limited, particularly when faced with reactive armor on the tank's flanks, which diminishes its power significantly. However, targeting the weak spots produced markedly different results. Typically, 2 or 3 rounds would incapacitate a tank. Hearing the continuous explosions from the front, Ho Jun sat in his jeep, his face aglow with satisfaction. It seems the armored division has commenced its fire coverage. The Red Special Forces are bound for total annihilation. Alas, having finally encountered a worthy opponent, I had hoped for a longer engagement. This is truly disappointing. Suddenly, a subordinate stumbled over, panicked and breathless, reporting, Captain, our armored division has been ambushed and suffered heavy losses. Ho Jun's jaw dropped in disbelief. How could this be? Wasn't the Black Tiger unit eradicated? How could they launch an ambush on our armored division? The subordinate hurriedly relayed the situation. Ho Jun slumped down, stunned. It's over. We've fallen into a trap. Chapter 188. The Thunderous Fury. Is this never-ending? Observing the multitude of soldiers hoisting 40mm rockets, the Blue Army's armored commander turned pale, shouting frantically, Turn around, quickly. These fellows intend to focus their rocket fire on the tank's fuel tanks. We must not allow them to succeed. The remaining 20 or so tanks hastily adjusted their direction, attempting to evade the artillery fire through maneuvering. But how agile can these iron behemoths be? Zhou Zhongyi, alongside his men, circled the tanks, relentlessly targeting their rears. No matter which way the tanks turned, they remained steadfastly behind them, like an unshakable burden. Fire! Zhou Zhongyi shouted with a wicked grin. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, the rockets soared forth. The remaining 20 tanks were immediately engulfed in thick smoke, rendered entirely into scrap metal. The armored battalion commander lifted the hatch and emerged, surveying the billowing smoke surrounding him and the immobilized tanks resembling iron turtles. He struck one tank with a fist, his frustration palpable. How utterly infuriating. You are despicable. Merely spinning around and targeting our tanks. With a grin of satisfaction plastered across his face, Zhou Zhongyi did not pause. He led his comrades into a charge against the remaining Wild Wolf team members, surrounded by overwhelming firepower and the Black Tiger unit. The remaining Wild Wolf soldiers found themselves trapped. Soon, they were sent back home one by relentless shells. Ho Jun choked on the thick smoke, coughing repeatedly. Not far away, Lin Hui approached with a smile, hands clasped behind his back. Lei Ming stepped up to Ho Jun, a teasing grin on his face. Well, isn't this someone looking rather glum? Lin Hui chuckled. My apologies, Captain Ho, but it seems I accidentally wiped out your entire team. Ho Jun, removing his helmet and slamming it to the ground in frustration, seethed, cowardly, shameless, and despicable. You dare to conspire and employ underhanded tactics. Your victory is hollow. Why all the chatter when you're already defeated? Lin Hui replied nonchalantly. We stand tall while you lie down. It simply proves our superiority. Our goal is to eliminate you, and we succeeded. Speechless with rage, Ho Jun realized the futility of words in the face of defeat. This time, he had truly stumbled. After all, who would have anticipated that the Red faction would employ special forces as bait, sacrificing so much in the process? Do as you wish. I care not. Lin Hui chuckled. What are you on about? You're dead. Is there any need for further execution? Ho Jun was momentarily at a loss for words. Nearly forgetting his predicament, Lin Hui gestured to his men. Go and strip them of their uniforms. Change into them. Without hesitation, the Tiger Battalion sprang into action, quickly and efficiently disrobing their opponents. Soon, Ho Jun found himself clad only in his underwear and socks, anger and humiliation boiling within him. What are you doing? Lin Hui shot him an exasperated glance. What business is it of yours? You're dead. Why question us? As Ho Jun watched them don their uniforms, he began to piece together their intentions, his fury igniting. You intend to wear our clothes to commit nefarious deeds, don't you? Let me assure you, that trick won't work. Why should I care whether you approve or not? Lin Hui retorted dismissively. You just lie there quietly. We're leaving. With a wave of his hand, he prepared to depart. Ho Jun, shivering from the cold, shouted after him. You scoundrel, having stolen our uniforms, at least leave us yours. It's winter, and we're stranded in the wilderness. You wish to freeze us to death? Lin Hui turned back, smiling at him. Aren't you special forces? Do special forces fear the cold? Lei Ming chimed in with a grin. Do the dead fear the cold? Truly a sight to behold. Ignore them. They're just full of complaints. Lin Hui waved dismissively, striding forward in their uniforms. In the biting wind, a group of bare-chested men stood shivering, their leg hair standing on end. The squadron leader chattered his teeth, muttering, These rascals are truly, truly heartless. Ho Jun gritted his teeth and remarked, Wearing our uniforms is futile. The Blue Army will soon learn of our demise. The uniforms contain positioning chips, and they won't let a single one of us escape. The squadron leader stared at him, bewildered. Captain, we are all fallen. There isn't even anyone left to relay the news. How would the Blue Army know we are dead? Ho Jun paused, contemplating, and realized his oversight. While the command might eventually learn of their demise, it would not promptly inform the Blue Army. In a realistic battlefield simulation, news of their casualties required someone from their side to report it. With a cold snort, Ho Jun concluded, Never mind. Once the Blue Army loses contact with us, they will naturally come to know. As long as they realize we are gone, the Red faction won't succeed. They began to search for materials to keep warm. The others nodded in agreement, hastily gathering a pile of dry leaves to cover themselves, leaving only their heads exposed, much like bathers in a pool. This way, when the recovery team arrived, they would be discovered. Looking up at the sky, Ho Jun felt a mix of anger and frustration. After years of playing the eagle, he had finally been pecked in the eye by one. How had he not recognized the treachery of the Black Tigers after so many encounters? Clearly, he would need to be more cautious in the future. 2 hours later, Lin Hui led the group into a wooded area, finding a relatively concealed spot to rest. He pulled out a combat map from his leg pouch. This map belonged to the Wild Wolf Special Forces, and it was filled with meticulous annotations of various positions, including both Red Faction and Blue Army strategic deployments. Lin Hui chuckled. Special Forces are remarkable. They have clearly marked their troop deployments, ultimately benefiting us. Lei Ming laughed, adding, The key is that they never anticipated our complete annihilation. He was thoroughly impressed by Lin Hui. Despite their significant losses, with only a handful of men remaining, they had managed to wipe out the entire Blue Army Wild Wolf Brigade, along with 2 armored divisions. It was indeed a considerable victory. Lin Hui grinned. There are countless things they never foresaw. However, had the enemy not been so overconfident and had they extended their line, we wouldn't have been able to ensnare them all. Lei Ming nodded in agreement. Although Lin Hui's plans were meticulous, if the Wild Wolves had been sufficiently vigilant and cautious, they could have avoided such devastation. It could only be said that Ho Jun was too eager for quick success. Instead of gradually wearing them down, he had gathered all his forces for a decisive strike. He had it coming. Lei Ming looked at him, curious. Lin Hui, what is the next plan? Lin Hui, surprised, replied, You know I have a plan. Of course, Lei Ming retorted, eyeing the Blue Army uniform Lin Hui wore. Last time in the exercise, you swaggered into the command center in our uniforms. Let us hear your strategy. I'll fully cooperate. Lin Hui playfully slapped his arm, smiling. You truly are the commander of the Black Tigers. You possess the right mindset. I'm preparing to have you all serve as bait once more. Thunder roared as he forcefully swatted the hand away, his temper flaring. Are you never going to stop? Chapter 189. The entire Black Tiger deceived into submission. Are you never going to stop? Thunder exclaimed in exasperation. Absolutely not. I refuse. Lin Hui and Zhou Zhongyi exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. Then, Lin Hui turned to Thunder and said, Captain, this task absolutely requires your involvement. Thunder turned to him, scoffing, Lin Hui, I've come to realize that you are a bottomless pit. It's one thing to ensnare the enemy, but to drag our own people into this mess? Do I have a grudge against you, or did I disturb your ancestors' graves in a past life? Exactly. Zhou Zhongyi chimed in, pointing an accusatory finger at Lin Hui. You're being utterly unreasonable. You can't just fleece one sheep at a time. Look at how many came here as a whole squad. And now look at the state they are in. Do you have any shame left? Any conscience? Thunder nodded in agreement. Captain Zhou, you have spoken a fair word. Zhou Zhongyi patted him on the back. Rest assured, I've long seen through this lad's untrustworthy nature. He's got a rebellious spirit. We are on the same side. We must not heed his words. Thunder felt a sense of camaraderie and immediately aligned himself with Zhou Zhongyi. Even if Lin Hui were to tear the sky apart with his arguments, he still would not agree. Lin Hui feigned a look of helplessness. Captain, I understand that the Black Tiger has suffered greatly, but in order to secure victory, I must proceed this way. He looked at Thunder and asked, Captain Lei, let me ask you one thing. Do you wish to win the battle? Of course. Thunder glared at him, inwardly thinking that he would prefer not to. Had it not been for the desire for victory, he would not have agreed to serve as bait for Lin Hui in the first place. But must they persistently target their single squad for misfortune? Was he destined to become a mere figurehead? Lin Hui stated earnestly, if you truly wish to win, if you desire to achieve victory, then you must heed my counsel. What we just accomplished was merely a minor triumph, having vanquished a single enemy special forces unit, which hardly inflicted serious damage to the Blue Army. However, now, I am set to confront their main forces. The significance is entirely different. Zhou Zhongyi scoffed. What makes it different? Elaborate, please. Thunder perked up his ears, eager to hear the rationale Lin Hui would present. Lin Hui, with a grave expression, explained. The main forces of the Blue Army are far more formidable, presenting a challenge far beyond that of the wild wolves. If even you all refuse to step forward, then our chances of success dwindle greatly. If I could find a unit on the red side that surpasses your capabilities, I wouldn't trouble you. His eyes swept over the room, and with a pained heart, he continued, the Black Tiger has been reduced to mere dozens. My heart aches as well. If it were not for the ultimate victory, do you think I would be willing to make this plea? Really? Thunder asked incredulously. Of course it is. Lin Hui grasped Thunder's hand, his eyes brimming with sincerity. Although we have had our share of disagreements in the past, through this battle, you have truly shown me what genuine special operations entail. In you, I see an indomitable spirit and unwavering perseverance. Knowing the odds are against us, we must still be courageous enough to draw our swords. The enemy may be stronger than us, but so what? Even if we exhaust every last soldier, we shall fight to the bitter end. Zhou Zhongyi raised his thumb, exclaiming, well said. What a commendable spirit to confront certain defeat with courage. Lei's team. This embodies the spirit of drawing the sword. Lei Ming's eyes brimmed with pride, his face radiating confidence. The spirit of the Black Tigers is precisely that, an indomitable resolve. No matter how formidable the enemy, we shall not be subdued or crushed. The so-called Wolf Special Forces, what does their past success against us matter? Now they have been utterly defeated. Continue, please. Lin Hui spoke solemnly. The Black Tigers are a heroic force, a special operations unit born from adversity. Heroes need not be wrapped in horsehide. Even if you were to sacrifice yourselves in action, it would be an act of valor, marking you as martyrs. As long as we secure victory in the end, you shall be the true heroes. Even in death, you shall be honored. I require no credit for myself. All accolades shall belong to you. From this day forth, all soldiers of the Red Faction, all warriors of the Southwest, shall never forget your dedication. Tell me, is that not greatness? Lin Hui's words ignited a fervor in the remaining Black Tiger soldiers, their hearts ablaze and eyes brimming with tears. They yearned to rush onto the battlefield and embrace their fates, willing to engage the Blue Army in a fight to the death. Captain, let us advance. Aside from us, who possesses the strength to contend with the Blue Army's main forces? With greater power comes greater responsibility. Lei, I believe Lin Hui speaks truth. Let us act. Even if we perish, we shall be honored, martyrs worthy of our cause. Lei Ming's eyes sparkled with fierce determination. After a moment of hesitation, he patted Lin Hui's shoulder and declared earnestly, heroes need not be wrapped in horsehide. So many brothers have already sacrificed themselves. Those of us remaining shall not cling to life. Speak of your plan. I shall follow your lead. Lin Hui raised his thumb. Captain Lei, magnificent. Zhou Zhongyi also raised his thumb. Captain Lei, formidable. Finally, they both exclaimed together, Captain Lei, both magnificent and formidable. Lei Ming's heart soared with joy, his smile blooming like a great chrysanthemum. All right, enough flattery. Now what is the plan? Lin Hui chuckled, pointing directly at a location on the map. Soon, we shall undertake this. Lei Ming looked skeptical. That location is swarming with the Blue Army's main forces. Can we truly manage with just our numbers? Lin Hui smiled gently. Why not? In a moment, you shall do as I say. On the battlefield ahead, Lin Fan reorganized the 5th Brigade by drawing elite troops from various units. Together with the Blue Army's main forces, they launched a relentless assault on the Red Faction. Reports swiftly returned to the Red Command Center. Report to the commander. Area 332 has fallen. Commander, We cannot hold the front line any longer. Our forces are suffering heavy casualties. Report to the commander. The 62nd Regiment requests assistance. The Blue Army is mounting a fierce offensive, and our position is on the brink of collapse. In Changha, frazzled and furious, declared, the Blue Army intends to annihilate us completely. Notify all units to temporarily withdraw 30 kilometers, allowing our main forces to cover both flanks to prevent enemy ambushes. We must secure a new position. Yes. The Red Faction's units received the order and immediately commenced their retreat. Lin Fan stood atop a war vehicle, peering through binoculars at the distant battlefield. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid scent of gunpowder. Explosions lit up the landscape as the Blue Army's relentless charge rendered the Red Army's defenses as flimsy as paper, incapable of withstanding the onslaught. The lines had been torn apart, and tanks surged forth, sweeping through the chaos, swiftly dismantling the enemy's formation. A triumphant smile finally graced Lin Fan's lips. Did they think that by disrupting our logistics, victory was assured? I have vowed that what they consume, I shall make them regurgitate. A subordinate rushed toward him with urgent news. Report, Brigade Commander. The Red Army cannot hold their ground, and is beginning to retreat. They shall not escape. Lin Fan exclaimed, his eyes gleaming with exhilaration. Initiate the charge, and eliminate them all. As the subordinate turned to execute the command, Lin Fan's radio crackled to life. Report, report. This is Wolf Squad, please respond. Lin Fan paused momentarily, puzzled. Wolf Squad, how did the special forces locate me? He picked up the radio, his tone icy. This is Lin Fan. What is the matter? The voice on the other end was grave. I am Captain Zhou Dehua of Wolf Squad. During our operation against the Black Tigers, we missed a few stragglers who are now fleeing in your direction. Lin Fan's eyes lit up. Stragglers from the Black Tigers? This was an opportunity to settle old scores. Rest assured, I will send men to intercept and assist you in completely obliterating them. As the communication ended, Zhou Zhongyi set down the radio, adjusting his hair before confidently addressing Lin Hui. They've taken the bait. Lin Hui gave him a thumbs up. Well done. From the tone of the voice, he recognized it was his older brother, Lin Fan. It was quite a coincidence to encounter family on the battlefield. With a mischievous glint in his eye, Lin Hui mused, Brother, since fate has brought us together, I regret that it must come to this. Chapter 190. Captain, I have avenged you. Relay my orders. The main force shall continue advancing. Lin Fan commanded, summoning a regimental commander. Brigade Commander, what are your orders? Lin Fan replied coolly. Immediately allocate a battalion to head south. The Red Army Special Forces have dwindled to mere dozens. You must assist Wolf Squad in intercepting the enemy. We must ensure that these few rats are captured. The commander saluted, understood. Go, I await your good news. Yes. The commander turned to leave, while Lin Fan resumed his command from the war vehicle. In the dense woods to the south, Lin Hui peeked cautiously from behind the underbrush. After surveying the area, he quietly retreated. He addressed Lei Ming. Listen closely, everyone must scatter towards the 5 o'clock direction. Do not run in an orderly fashion. The more chaotic, the better, like headless flies. However, remember to occasionally turn back and fire a few shots. We will also fire a couple of shots in your direction for appearances. Lei Ming nodded. Consider it done. Lin Hui saluted him and declared, our victory hinges on your efforts. Lei Ming, leading the remnants of the Black Tiger forces, returned to salute. Everything is for the sake of securing the final victory. Rest assured, at such a moment, we shall exert our utmost, and there shall be no faltering. With that, he charged forward with his remaining troops. Observing their gallant demeanor, Zhou Zhongyi could not help but sigh. Lin Hui, look at the trouble you've caused. You seem to revel in their annihilation. Lin Hui chuckled. Commander, they are sacrificing for the red side, not for my sake. Moreover, you played your part in deceiving them as well. Zhou Zhongyi laughed. I had almost forgotten that. Let us proceed. Lin Hui waved his hand, and the team promptly followed suit. There was no need for further instruction. They immediately commenced firing freely at the Black Tiger forces ahead. As long as they refrained from aiming directly, merely discharging their weapons would suffice. The Black Tiger soldiers responded quickly, firing back as they fled. Gunfire echoed through the forest, startling the birds into flight. In the distance, within a camouflaged position, the Blue Army's 2nd Battalion commander, upon hearing the gunfire, felt a surge of excitement. Prepare yourselves. They are approaching. Soon, a frantic group of Red Special Forces came into view, pursued by the Blue Army's Wolf Special Operations Team. Truly impressive. They had managed to reduce the opposing side to such scant numbers and chase them so far. Indeed, they were worthy of their reputation. After a moment of admiration, the battalion commander tore away the camouflage and shouted, "Open fire." Instantly, soldiers concealed in the grass sprang up and unleashed a barrage towards the Black Tiger team ahead. The bullets whizzed past the ground, crossing in midair, and several Black Tiger members were swiftly engulfed in smoke. Ambush ahead, Li Ming bellowed. prompting everyone to swiftly take cover behind protective barriers. However, the Blue Army had anticipated this, quickly surrounding them from both flanks, leaving no opportunity for concealment. Due to the overwhelming numerical superiority, it wasn't long before half of the Black Tiger forces were decimated. Lei Ming's heart ached as he gazed at the scant few remaining. Just then, bullets from behind began to rain down, compelling him to drop to the ground for cover. Li Meng turned to see Lin Hui and the others catching up, also firing at them, his frustration boiling over. Damn it, isn't this just a charade? They're determined to push us to our doom. Lei Ming understood the necessity of maintaining the facade. Lin Hui had to blend genuine engagement with simulated combat. Otherwise, it would be too suspicious if the special forces failed to hit their targets at such close range. In a moment of clarity, Lei Ming resolutely declared, "Let us commit fully to this ruse. As long as it aids them in accomplishing their mission and achieving victory, we shall face death unflinchingly. Everyone, prepare to break through." With Lei Ming's fierce command, a tremor of resolve coursed through each soldier's heart. In that instant, they were no longer mere participants in an exercise. They were transformed into true warriors, charging into battle against the enemy. Though we may perish, let it be with honor. Charge! Lei Ming, clutching his weapon, dove to evade bullets and led the charge forward. The remaining members of the Black Tiger team surged forward at a sprint, their bodies lowered almost to the grass, each scattering to engage in individual combat. In their swift advance, they accurately targeted and fired upon the Blue Army soldiers, utilizing the trees ahead as cover. Lei Ming executed a graceful slide to a halt, twisting his body midair to aim at 3 Blue Army soldiers on the flank, pulling the trigger with precision. Bang! 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 3 bullets struck their intended targets flawlessly. Rising without a moment's pause, Lei Ming continued his relentless charge forward. The other members of the Black Tiger team mirrored his swift and decisive movements. Even Lin Hui, witnessing the scene from behind, couldn't help but feel compelled to applaud them. Indeed, special forces are exceptional, demonstrating remarkable prowess. Naturally, had they lacked such capability, Lin Hui would not have put them in jeopardy. Did they dare to break through? The Blue Army's 2nd Battalion commander gazed in disbelief at the unfolding scene. He scoffed coldly, dismissing it as mere desperate struggle. Scatter the formation, we cannot allow them to escape. The Blue Army expanded their defensive line, unleashing a fierce barrage of fire towards the Black Tigers. Both sides suffered casualties, yet the Black Tiger team, as a special forces unit, employed individual tactics that outmatched ordinary soldiers. For every one of their own that fell, 5 or 6 Blue Army soldiers would succumb. Ultimately, however, the overwhelming numbers of the Blue Army rendered the Black Tigers incapable of resistance, leading to nearly their entire unit's demise. Only Li Meng remained, eyes blazing, still charging forward. In that moment, the words "victory is ours" consumed his thoughts. He executed individual tactical maneuvers to perfection, weaving and dodging in an S-shaped pattern to evade attacks. Single-handedly, he took down 10 Blue Army soldiers, but as he neared the Blue Army's defensive line, he was ultimately overwhelmed and eliminated. Watching the white smoke rise overhead, Li Meng felt his adrenaline surge. He took a slow, deep breath, revealing a relieved smile. Damn it, finally dead. The remaining Blue Army soldiers, faces alight with excitement, exclaimed, "They think they can escape. How presumptuous." Li Meng chuckled. "If we had a few dozen more men, we might have made it through." The battalion commander laughed heartily. Despite being adversaries, he couldn't help but admire the Black Tiger's audacity. At that moment, they had dared to attempt a breakout. Had his side not reacted swiftly enough, they might have indeed allowed 1 or 2 to slip away. Just then, Lin Hui and his team approached from a distance. Noticing they were clad in Wild Wolf Special Forces uniforms, the battalion commander instinctively assumed they were allies and greeted them cheerfully. "Thanks for your hard work. Making it all the way here." Lin Hui replied with a grin. "It's no trouble. We came all this way specifically to deal with you." The battalion commander was left bewildered, unsure of what he had just heard. "Engage." With Lin Hui's command, everyone grinned wickedly, raising their weapons to fire at the Blue Army. A cacophony of gunfire erupted. The Blue Army soldiers were all struck down. As white smoke billowed from their heads, the soldiers stood in shock. The battalion commander suddenly realized, pointing at Lin Hui in a fit of rage, "What the hell is wrong with you? You're firing at your own? Are you blind? Or has your brain been caught in the door?" Lin Hui rolled his eyes and exclaimed, "Who among you considers yourselves one of us?" The 2nd Battalion commander stood in stunned silence. "Aren't you the Wild Wolf Special Forces?" "Ugh." Lin Hui spat dismissively. Everyone behind him followed suit. Lin Hui, with a hint of annoyance, remarked, "Don't equate us with that bunch of weaklings. We are the red team, though we wear the guise of the Blue Army. Our hearts remain steadfastly red." He turned to Lei Ming, grinning. "Captain Lei, consider this a form of vengeance for you." Lei Ming smiled slightly. At least it wasn't in vain. The 2nd Battalion commander, witnessing this exchange, widened his eyes in terror, his jaw dropping to the ground. What the hell? You are all members of the red team? We've been duped. Chapter 191. Their minds cleansed by bleach, the 2nd Battalion commander glanced between Lin Hui and Lei Ming, finally coming to a realization. This was a classic ruse. Angrily glaring at Lin Hui, he retorted, "You're truly despicable, to deceive us. You've led your own comrades into peril. How ruthless." Lin Hui shrugged. "What do you know? This is strategy. Deception is the essence of war, understand?" The 2nd Battalion commander fell silent, begrudgingly recognizing the truth in Lin Hui's words while feeling a sense of injustice. He resolved to stir some discord. These people surely harbored ulterior motives. He looked at Lei Ming with a look of pity, saying, "At least you are special forces. They treat you as bait, sending you to your doom. Do you not feel aggrieved?" Lei Ming scoffed. "Stop trying to sow discord among us. Being bait is fine by me, as long as I can eliminate you." Beside him, Li Ming nodded in agreement. In war, casualties are inevitable. As long as we strive for the greatest victory, death is but a part of it. 18 years later, a hero will rise again. Moreover, we are all part of the red team. We do not betray our own. And this is our choice, so what is the issue? The corners of the 2nd Battalion commander's mouth twitched in disbelief. Had they lost their minds? They were sold out, and yet were helping count the profits. Lin Hui grasped Lei Ming's hand, excitedly declaring, "Captain Lei, your resolve is truly commendable. I must learn from you. Such spirit alone is worth a lifetime of study." Lei Ming laughed heartily. "You exaggerate. Setting aside our special forces status, we are simply ordinary soldiers. We should learn from each other." Lin Hui nodded and turned to the remaining members of the Black Tiger team. "Captain, I assure you, your sacrifices will not be in vain. When the final victory horn sounds, you Black Tigers will be the greatest contributors to this exercise, and the superiors will surely recognize your merits." "What merits? We hardly care about that, as long as we win. Ha ha ha." The members of Black Tiger were elated, practically floating on air. They suddenly felt that Lin Hui wasn't so detestable after all. Not only was he focused on victory and the greater good, but he also spoke kindly and refrained from claiming credit. Truly a commendable comrade. Wang Yong and Chun Eru, hiding in the back, whispered, "Did you see that? They've all been charmed by Brother Hui. We need to be cautious from now on, lest one day Brother Hui decides to sell us out too." Chun Eru nodded earnestly, affirming, "Indeed, we must remain vigilant. I certainly do not wish to become like those foolish Black Tigers, sold out, and yet counting the money with a grin. You all should hurry and seize this hard-won opportunity." Lei Ming patted Lin Hui's arm, urging him to depart promptly. He resembled one who, after a scolding, would still turn back to offer you a tissue. Lin Hui saluted him before departing with a cheerful smile. "We are off." Lei Ming waved goodbye. "Be sure to strive for the utmost victory." The other members of Black Tiger shared his optimistic sentiment. "Go for it, young warriors. Strike hard at the Blue Army. Let them know our might." The Blue Army's 2nd Battalion commander watched these rascals as if they were actors in a film, suddenly feeling sentimental. His toes nearly dug a palace into the ground. Some from the Blue Army, unable to contain their frustration, erupted into insults. "You fools. How shameless can you be? Sold out and still grinning while counting the cash. I've never seen such a thing. And you call yourselves special forces." Li Ming swaggered. "Unfazed, you know nothing. As long as the red team triumphs, we share the glory. This is what we call greatness in life and honor in death." The others nodded in agreement. "Exactly. In battle, there are always sacrifices. We are willing to give of ourselves. We are noble. We are grand. You regular troops wouldn't understand." The 2nd Battalion commander covered his face, squatting down in a mix of laughter and tears. These folks must have had their brains bleached. Otherwise, they wouldn't be this foolish. He clearly sensed that the two sides were not on the same wavelength. The Black Tigers had undoubtedly been brainwashed. How could they be so jubilant in the face of death? After numerous drills, this was the first time he had encountered such a spectacle. While others would be dejected, this group stood out with pride. Standing up, the 2nd Battalion commander looked at Lei Ming with a cold smile. "Even if they infiltrate, they will not prevail. Our main force is not to be trifled with. Just watch, they will be annihilated soon." Lei Ming responded with an insightful "oh" and a knowing smile. "If it were anyone else, I wouldn't dare to assure victory, but them? They will certainly succeed. Otherwise, why would we use ourselves as bait to lure them into your midst?" As he observed the cunning smile on Lei Ming's face, the 2nd Battalion commander felt a jolt of realization. The special forces serving as bait only indicated that this red team was even more formidable than the special forces themselves. He abruptly turned around, only to find that Lin Hui and his comrades had already vanished without a trace. The 2nd Battalion commander swallowed hard, inexplicably gripped by a sense of foreboding. It felt as though something monumental was about to transpire. Lin Hui and his companions, clad in wild wolf attire, advanced seamlessly, soon nearing the main forces of the Blue Army. Boom, boom, boom. The battlefield ahead erupted with deafening explosions. The Blue Army surged forward like a relentless tide. Lin Hui crouched in the grass, pointing at the distant Blue Army artillery units that were firing incessantly, with a gleeful expression. Let us first eliminate their heavy weaponry to weaken their firepower. The time has come to cast aside all distractions and charge forward with unwavering resolve. Explosive charges and bombs were hastily thrust into the enemy's territory, and for distant targets, we concentrated our fire on the fuel tanks, unleashing 3 rounds if one was insufficient. Understood. Everyone was poised and eager for action. Onward. Lin Hui commanded, and instantly, all members hoisted their heavy weaponry, surging forth with the ferocity of wolves. It was akin to a horde of lustful suitors descending upon a fragile maiden. Meanwhile, the Blue Army's artillery was in full swing, raining shells upon the battlefield, causing the Red forces to be thrown into disarray. The artillery commander, peering through his binoculars, laughed heartily. Fire. Keep firing. Send the Red forces back to their homeland. Suddenly, an explosion erupted from behind. He turned in shock to find his artillery position under siege, engulfed in thick, white smoke. What was happening? Had the enemy launched an attack? As panic set in, he caught sight of a group clad in Blue Army uniforms, armed with rocket launchers, wreaking havoc upon their artillery position. The commander was momentarily stunned, his mind grappling with disbelief. What the hell? Are you insane? Attacking our own? Are you staging a mutiny? Who the hell are you? I am with the Red forces. Lin Hui unleashed a volley of bullets, leaving the commander bewildered. As he witnessed a throng of soldiers rushing towards him, some clad in blue special forces attire. Confusion washed over him. What on earth is happening? Has the Wild Wolves regiment defected? Why are their uniforms on the enemy? Before long, Lin Hui's relentless assault had reduced the artillery position to ruins. Follow me. Without a moment's hesitation, Lin Hui pressed on, leading his troops deeper into the fray. Chapter 192. Forgive me, dear brother, for I must uphold justice against kin. Lin Hui and his men surged forward with fervor. Their excitement was palpable. There was no greater joy than turning the tables on the unsuspecting. Meanwhile, the Blue forces on the front lines continued their relentless assault on the Red Army, oblivious to the fact that their artillery position had been completely overrun. It was not entirely their fault. They had grown complacent. The main force of the Red Army had been shattered and was in retreat, while the morale of the Blue forces soared, bolstered by a tightly guarded infantry battalion in the rear, making any attempt to flank them a daunting task. Soon, Lin Hui and his men stealthily approached the vicinity of the infantry battalion. Observing the unsuspecting prey before them, Lin Hui eagerly licked his lips, spread out. Let us eliminate them. With that command, Zhang Jiantao swiftly led his men into action. Instantly, the entire Tiger regiment scattered like petals in the wind, each unit firing upon the enemy ahead. The sound of gunfire erupted, bullets pouring down like a torrential rain, striking the Blue forces from behind. Most had yet to comprehend the situation before they were enveloped in smoke. As they turned in bewilderment, they beheld a flurry of Blue Special Forces personnel swiftly advancing, occasionally leaving behind warnings echoing in the chaos. Be honest, you are already dead. The Blue Army's camp commander was utterly bewildered. What on earth is happening? The Special Forces are revolting, raising their flags to stage a coup. Are they attempting to usurp power? The chief of staff beside him rolled his eyes in exasperation. Usurp power? This is merely an exercise, not an actual battle. He watched as the group surged forward, dashing towards the next unit, shaking his head in resignation. I suspect the Wild Wolves have received some sort of benefit and have collectively defected. The camp commander widened his eyes. The Special Forces have defected? How much must their commander have been offered? In Area 443, Ho Jun, who was huddled in a cat-ear-shaped cave for warmth, sneezed violently and rubbed his nose. This is bad. Am I coming down with a cold? The 2 battalions of the Blue Army were swiftly annihilated by Lin Hui and his comrades. Everyone discarded their firearms and ran with all their might. Hurry! Lin Hui shouted as he sprinted, glancing back. We must exploit the time difference. We must eliminate them all before they realize what is happening. Indeed, everyone quickened their pace, their faces contorted with effort. Yet not a single person complained of fatigue, nor did anyone stop. In war, speed and timing are paramount. As long as the news of casualties did not reach the front in a timely manner, they could exploit the time difference and decisively annihilate the Blue Army units along their path. Soon, a relentless torrent of steel emerged in their line of sight. Blue Army tanks fired continuously, launching a fierce assault on the Red Army positions. The deafening artillery sounded like a symphony, leaving the Red Army gasping for breath. Concentrate fire towards 4 o'clock. A tank commander seized the radio and ordered, first, eliminate their firing points, then provide covering fire elsewhere. I want them to understand the might of our Blue Army tanks. Nearby, a tank crewman hastily loaded ammunition, just as they were about to aim and fire. Suddenly, a hissing sound echoed, plunging the cockpit into darkness. The commander strained his eyes in the gloom, yet saw not a glimmer of light. What is happening? His subordinate anxiously replied. Commander, we've been hit. The tank is immobilized, the safety mechanism has triggered, and the power system is shut down. How is that possible? The commander could hardly believe they had been struck by the enemy. They were situated in the heart of the Blue Army's main force, a critical point for firepower output. The Red forces were currently in disarray. How could they possibly divert troops to attack them? The commander hurriedly pushed open the hatch and climbed out. However, the scene before him rendered him speechless. A group of individuals clad in Blue Army uniforms surged from all directions, stuffing explosives beneath the tank. After placing the charges, they fled, followed by a resounding explosion that rendered the tank immobile. A cloud of white smoke erupted from beneath, resembling flatulence. The commander instantly comprehended the situation, and with a fist, he struck the tank. What the hell is wrong with you? Are you attacking your own people? Have you lost your minds? Lin Huishun made his way over, and with a single volley of bullets, he was sent to his demise. Who among you is aligned with them? I am of the Red faction, the Just Forces. The commander nearly spat blood in disbelief. How had the Red faction infiltrated their ranks so deeply? You claim to be the righteous forces, yet we are branded as villains? As he watched the group swiftly advance, the commander, paralyzed by fear, dashed into the cockpit and shouted, Quickly, contact the brigade commander and report the situation. The Red faction has infiltrated our rear, and they're donning our uniforms. We cannot be deceived. A subordinate, wiping the drool from his face, blinked in confusion. Commander, we are already doomed, and the power systems have been cut off. How can we contact them? The commander sank to the ground, a chill running down his spine. How could I have forgotten this? We are in serious trouble. 5 kilometers ahead, within a Blue Army command vehicle, the chief of staff fervently reported to Lin Fan, brigade commander. The main forces of the Red faction are on the verge of collapse. Within an hour at most, we shall seize Hill 203. Excellent. Lin Fan's eyes sparkled with excitement, a broad smile lighting his face. Notify all units to intensify their offensive and strive to crush the Red faction completely. Suddenly, there was a frantic pounding on the command vehicle's door. Lin Fan opened it to find a panicked subordinate. What is it? Not good. We are under attack from the rear, and the losses are catastrophic. Lin Fan's eyes widened in shock as he grabbed the subordinate by the collar. How is this possible? The Red faction is in front. When did they manage to reach our rear? The subordinate shook his head vigorously. No, it's not the Red faction. It's our own men, the Wild Wolf Special Forces. Lin Fan listened in disbelief. The Wild Wolves were a prized asset of the Blue Army. How could they possibly be attacking him? Was there some mistake? Before he could voice his questions, a horde of figures suddenly emerged, clad in the uniforms of the Blue Army's Wild Wolf Special Forces, charging towards them like a pack of wolves. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions erupted around them, sending bodies flying. Some tanks attempted to retaliate, only to be met with a barrage of artillery fire that turned them into mere scrap metal. In an unexpected turn of events, the Tiger Brigade seized control of the scene with astonishing speed. Caught off guard, the frontline troops were unable to mount a counterattack in time. In the midst of Lin Fan's shock, a group stormed up to the command vehicle, weapons drawn. Leading them, Zhang Jiantao glared menacingly. Drop your weapons and raise your hands. Even Lin Fan, typically slow to react, grasped the situation. These men were not Wild Wolf commandos. They were indeed from the Red faction. Enraged, he pointed at them and demanded, Which unit are you from? At that moment, the crowd parted, and Lin Hui approached with his hands behind his back, a mischievous grin on his face. Oh, this brother bears quite a resemblance to my second elder brother. Come down, let me have a good look at you. Lin Fan, upon seeing that familiar, infuriating face, felt his pupils constrict. What the hell? Lin Hui. He suddenly recalled that this rascal was indeed on the red team. Before the exercise commenced, Lin Fan had contemplated whether he should go easy on him if they crossed paths, allowing him to shine a little. Little did he expect that, in the blink of an eye, he had unwittingly sealed his own fate. Lin Fan's eyes blazed with fury as he glared at him. You scoundrel. I am your second brother. Lin Hui, with a face full of delight, responded, Second brother, is it really you? I've missed you so much. With that, he aimed his gun at Lin Fan. Bang! A gunshot echoed. Lin Fan's helmet rattled, and a plume of white smoke erupted. At that moment, Lin Fan felt as though his lungs were about to explode, his face flushed with rage as he shouted, You little rascal, knowing I'm your second brother. Why did you shoot? Lin Hui chuckled. You are my second brother, but also the enemy commander. Keeping you alive would be a disaster. I am acting in the name of righteousness. Lin Fan nearly spat out blood, incredulous at the words that escaped that little brat's mouth. Chapter 193, Lin Fan spits blood. I have no such devious younger brother. Boom. 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 Chaos erupted all around. The Tiger Brigade scattered, unleashing a fierce barrage. The Blue forces quickly regrouped, mounting a swift resistance. The enemies near the command vehicle had been cleared out by Lin Hui and his team, Yet battles raged on in other areas. Lin Fan scrutinized Lin Hui, disbelief etched on his face. Is this really my incompetent younger brother? In his memory, Lin Hui had always been carefree and reckless. As he matured, he became even more extravagant, often seen cruising in a Cadillac to social clubs or charming women at bars, seemingly without a care in the world. Although he had heard that Lin Hui had undergone significant changes and improvements since joining the military, he was still uncertain of the extent of his transformation. In truth, regarding this exercise, he shared the same attitude as their father, having never truly considered Lin Hui a serious contender. He hadn't even spared him a glance. The Tiger Brigade might have been formidable within their 602 unit, but on the broader stage of the Southwest, their prowess was far from remarkable. Thus, in this red-blue exercise, they were merely there as background figures, akin to a couple of green onions tossed in while selling meat at the supermarket. However, Lin Fan never anticipated that this brat would be the one to take him down. Recalling how he had confidently approached his father to discuss whether to give Lin Hui some leniency during the exercise, to grant him special consideration and save face, Lin Fan now wished he could find a hole to burrow into. The slap to his face had come far too swiftly. Lin Hui's infuriating remarks snapped him back to reality. All right, enough standing around. Make some room for us. What do you intend to do? Lin Hui chuckled. Nothing much. Just come on, help me get them down. Zhang Jiantao and the others immediately rushed forward, lifting the individuals from the vehicle as if they were corpses. My apologies. Comrade second brother, Wang Yong and Chen Eru, each grasping a limb, cheerfully assisted him out. They had both surmised that Lin Hui's identity was extraordinary, yet neither dared to articulate it. Regardless, they had already acknowledged Lin Hui as their leader. His status mattered not. Lin Fan, like a fish recently pulled from the water, flailed about, his face flushed. What are you doing? I can walk on my own. Don't touch me, let go. With a thud, Lin Hui delivered a kick to his backside. Stop squirming, do you hear me? The indignity of the kick nearly sent Lin Fan into a rage. How dare you kick me? I am your second brother. Lin Hui scoffed. You are but a second brother who has gone cold. Spare me your familial ties on the battlefield. You are the enemy's leader now. Behave yourself, or I shall seal your fate. Lin Fan glared. You can seal my fate? A practitioner of the Maoshan school, are you? Lin Hui removed his shoe, thrusting his odorous foot near Lin Fan's face, swaying it slightly. Behold, is this not a seal? Stick this on, and you shall remain still. Apart from my stinky socks, I also possess a pair of unwashed underwear. Care to give them a try? Guaranteed to be a pungent experience. Since the commencement of the exercise, none had changed their attire. The odor of socks and undergarments was unimaginable. Terrified, Lin Fan quickly clamped his mouth shut, sealing it tighter than if it were glued. Soon, several corpses were removed from the vehicle and laid on the ground. A few officers gathered around Lin Fan, whispering among themselves. Hey, brigade commander, is that your brother? This seems rather harsh. Does he have a grudge against you? Surely he seeks to contest your inheritance. So tread carefully. Lin Fan's face turned crimson, wishing fervently to bury his head in his trousers. He is not my brother. Our Lin family does not harbor such vile creatures. To treat one's own brother with such cruelty is utterly disgraceful. I was far too lenient with him when we were young. He knew nothing. Observing Lin Hui enter the command vehicle, a Blue Army officer curiously inquired, Commander, what does he intend to do? Lin Fan huffed, who knows? Watching Lin Hui rest his chin on his hand, scrutinizing the various instruments within the command vehicle, he furrowed his brow. Surely he doesn't intend to tamper with these devices? Lin Fan mocked. Futile endeavor, dear brother. These have been encrypted and require authorization to operate. Abandon that hope. Lin Hui glanced at Wang Yong. If he speaks again, silence him. Understood. Wang Yong removed his sock and held it before Lin Fan, ever prepared. Lin Fan was overwhelmed by the stench, tears streaming down his face as he gagged. Ugh, ugh. At that moment, Lin Hui had commenced fiddling aimlessly with the equipment before him. It was evident from a mere thought that his second brother had previously commanded this operation. As he continued to tinker, a series of notification chimes echoed in his mind. Ding. Proficient in Command System Usage Level 1. Ding. Proficient in Command System Usage Level 1. The notifications rang out several times, yet Lin Hui remained at a loss. The system was overly intricate. He had never encountered anything like it before. Attempting to successfully infiltrate through mere trial and error was nothing short of a fantasy. The combat efficacy of the 5th Composite Brigade remained intact. He had only eliminated a small fraction. To completely vanquish this Blue Army main force, a more decisive action was imperative. Lin Hui sighed inwardly, realizing that infiltrating the command system was indeed no trivial task. The command system required operational permissions, which could only be granted through specific templates. His elder brother was out of the picture. Even if he were present, his nature would prevent him from divulging such permissions. Furthermore, Lin Hui's aptitude for learning the system proved to be of little consequence. Suddenly, he noticed that the light on the communicator was still illuminated. He grabbed it decisively, sensing that his brother had recently used it. A few quick adjustments revealed that he couldn't access the operational system. But the communication system was open to him. Taking a deep breath, he shouted, "The commander orders a full retreat. We cannot withstand this any longer. We must flee at once." Outside the command vehicle, Lin Fan observed Lin Hui's actions, his mind filled with confusion. "What nonsense are you spouting?" Suddenly, a shocked inquiry from a certain battalion commander came through the communicator. "Commander, what is happening? We are engaged in fierce combat here, and the Red Army's 41st Regiment is on the brink of annihilation. How can we retreat? When I say retreat, you retreat. No further discussion." Lin Hui interrupted, not giving him a chance to respond. What could be more vital than the commander's safety? "We must retreat immediately. The commander has been injured. Disobedience will be dealt with by military law." The call was abruptly disconnected. On the other end, one subordinate, filled with excitement, reported to the battalion commander, "Commander, in 10 minutes. In just 10 minutes, we can completely eradicate the 41st Regiment and shatter their defensive line. Stop fighting and retreat." The subordinate thought he had misheard. He chuckled, asking, "Commander, don't joke around. How can we retreat at this moment?" The commander bellowed in anger. "How the hell should I know why we are retreating? The commander has given the order. Relay it immediately. Full retreat." The subordinate nearly went deaf from the shouting, feeling utterly perplexed. Was the commander losing his mind? Ordering a retreat at such a critical moment? Victory was almost within grasp. Yet, as a soldier, obedience was paramount. Watching Lin Hui leap from the command vehicle, Lin Fan was seething with rage. "You scoundrel! How dare you fabricate military reports?" Lin Hui chuckled. "How can you say that? It is not I who has distorted the military situation, but you." He patted Lin Fan on the shoulder, reflecting, "My brother is truly remarkable, even in death. He left the communication device for my use. You have rendered us a great service. Once the battle concludes, I shall consult with the Red Army's leadership to see if we can reward you." Lin Fan nearly turned away in exasperation. It was one thing to kill, but to strike at the heart was another. "I am part of the Blue Army. You going to the red side to seek accolades is simply malicious." Lin Fan felt like crying. "Get lost. I am not your elder brother. I lack your unscrupulousness." Lin Hui, grinning, chose to ignore him and immediately summoned Zhang Jiantao and the others. "I have just issued an order through their operational system for the 5th Brigade to retreat. Now, let us stoke the flames further. If it reaches the command center, we will achieve true glory." Everyone's eyes sparkled with excitement. Zhou Zhongyi rubbed his hands together, eager to inquire, "Tell us, what shall we do?" Lin Hui remained silent, turning to look at his elder brother with a mischievous grin. Lin Fan felt a chill run down his spine. He had never witnessed such a sinister smile in his life. Before he could even open his mouth to inquire, Lin Hui suddenly shouted at the top of his lungs, "The brigade commander is dead. Everyone, flee for your lives." Lin Fan was nearly apoplectic, his eyes rolling back in disbelief. Chapter 194. The Tiger Regiment is truly our Red Army's good fortune. The brigade commander is dead. Everyone, flee for your lives. Lin Hui's shout was akin to the fluttering of a butterfly's wings, ultimately provoking a tempest. In no time, his words spread far and wide, triggering a chain reaction. "What? The brigade commander has been killed? The commander is done for. We must retreat. The commander said that if we don't retreat, we'll surely die. The enemy outnumbers us by several folds." As the rumors escalated, chaos ensued, akin to a bustling marketplace. Many, unaware of the truth, believed the enemy had breached their defenses and hastily retreated. As the saying goes, 3 men can create a tiger. How much more so when the words have passed through the lips of hundreds, even thousands. No one could discern truth from falsehood. All they knew was to retreat first and sort it out later. Lin Fan watched as his comrades withdrew in disorder, resembling the ebbing tide. Infuriated, he leaped to his feet and shouted, "Everyone, ignore him. Do not retreat. Continue the attack. Hey, why are you still pretending to be dead? Do you want to be branded?" Lin Hui shot him a sidelong glance, causing Lin Fan to hastily cover his mouth. Lin Hui chuckled, "Now that is more like it. If one must die, it is better to be laid to rest." Damn you. Lin Fan was both frustrated and furious, with no recourse available. Now rendered a dead man according to the exercise rules, he was forbidden from speaking. Yet, the scene had devolved into utter chaos, with everyone scrambling to retreat. Who would heed his words? Beside him, an officer seethed with indignation. "I've never seen such despicable behavior. To use our communication system to spread rumors is bad enough. But now to incite a retreat. Which scoundrel birthed such a villain?" Lin Fan glared fiercely at him. "Shut your mouth. This is my father's doing." The officer was momentarily taken aback, instantly flustered. "Wait, is he really your brother? Why didn't you admit it earlier?" He quickly slapped his own face lightly, a broad grin spreading across his features. My mistake. What kind of scoundrels could give birth to such a prodigy? Only the most exalted could produce such an outstanding son. Truly a descendant of a military family, your tactical prowess is unparalleled. Lin Fan wished he could pierce him with his gaze. If you don't stop talking, no one will mistake you for a mute. The officer promptly fell silent. Realizing he had overstepped, Lin Fan was seething with anger, his fists pounding the ground in frustration. Just moments ago, everything seemed secure. How had it unraveled so suddenly? He had initially underestimated Lin Hui, considering giving him a bit of leeway since they were brothers, but now he found himself in dire straits due to his siblings' folly. How would he face their father upon returning from the exercise? Would he not end up breaking his own legs? As Lin Fan pondered this, tears threatened to spill. Oh, third brother, you wretched being, you have brought me to ruin. Meanwhile, all nearby Blue Army units received orders to swiftly withdraw from their positions, organized by regiment and battalion. Colonel San addressed the intercom urgently. Time is of the essence. Commence a full retreat. The battalion commander, still immersed in the heat of battle, was momentarily taken aback. Colonel, are you jesting? Victory is within our grasp. To withdraw now would render our efforts futile. Colonel San thundered in response. Enough with the trivialities. There are reasons for this directive from above. Execute the orders immediately. Understood. Observing the Red Army, battered and beleaguered, the battalion commander felt a deep sense of despair. Just as they were on the verge of triumph, the order to cease fire was issued. What manner of folly is this? The deputy battalion commander, stifling his frustration, inquired. Commander, are we truly retreating? The battalion commander, both exasperated and furious, retorted, do you wish to disobey? Retreat, 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 now. The command for a full-scale withdrawal was swiftly disseminated. All Blue Army soldiers were left in a state of confusion. Just as they were poised for victory, why the sudden retreat? It was akin to bringing a cherished lady home after much effort, only to receive a phone call from one's mother demanding an immediate return for dinner. With no time to spare, as the Blue Army withdrew, they could not help but grumble. What is this nonsense? Witnessing the rapid retreat of the Blue Army, Lin Hui wore a mischievous grin. Indeed, they fell for it. Wang Yong's eyes sparkled with excitement, his thumb raised high. Hui Go, when it comes to deception, you are unparalleled. A mere few words, and they were utterly fooled. Truly impressive. Chun Era chuckled. I used to watch such tactics on television. Who knew they would actually be effective? Lin Hui strutted proudly, akin to a triumphant rooster, declaring, of course, this is psychology at play. With their front lines stretched so thin, neglecting their rear, an unexpected assault from behind is bound to rattle them. After all, we are capitalizing on the element of surprise. The others nodded in agreement, recognizing the soundness of his logic. Zhou Zhongyi, curious, asked, what shall we do next? Lin Hui, with a gleeful smile, replied, rally the troops. As they retreat, we shall charge straight for the Blue Army's command center, catching them unawares. The group rubbed their hands together, grinning wickedly. They were no strangers to such tactics and were quite adept at them. At the Red Army command post, several operational advisors were in a state of disarray. Sir, the Blue Army's assault is relentless. Even as we withdraw, they persist in their fierce pursuit. The only viable option now is to sacrifice the entire 12th Brigade to buy us some time. In Changhe slammed his fist against the edge of the sand table. The 12th Brigade is our main force. If we sacrifice them, how shall we continue the fight? The faces of the assembly turned pale. Yet they found themselves devoid of better alternatives. The Blue Army's advance was like a torrential wave, tenacious and unyielding, impossible to shake off. Currently, the only path available was to abandon vehicles to protect the command. Otherwise, the losses would be even greater. Just then, a communications soldier stood up abruptly. Sir, we have received word that the Blue Army's main forces are in full retreat. In Changhe turned, incredulous. How can that be? It is true. The communications soldier affirmed with a nod. I have confirmed it. They are indeed retreating across the board, fleeing faster than rabbits, as if they had suffered a defeat. The command post was instantly rendered speechless. The current Red faction is akin to a child being pinned to the ground, on the verge of receiving a severe beating. The Blue Army, after much toil, has managed to bring themselves down, their fists already raised, only to unexpectedly flee, abandoning their armor in haste. This is utterly perplexing. The chief of staff scratched his head, pondering whether the blue commander had consumed too much powdered milk or if his faculties had failed him. Yin Changhe's face brightened with joy. Regardless of their intentions, this is a divine opportunity that we must seize without hesitation. Another strategist questioned with skepticism, Sir, could this be an enemy trap? Yin Changhe chuckled. Whether it is a trap is of little consequence. Besides, with the Blue Army's fierce offensive, they were on the brink of victory yet chose to retreat. Isn't that akin to exposing oneself unnecessarily? They must be facing trouble, otherwise, why would they withdraw without cause? The chief of staff furrowed his brow in contemplation. But which unit of the Red faction possesses the capability to cause such significant trouble for the Blue Army? Yin Changha smacked his thigh, suddenly realizing, the Tiger Regiment. They must be wreaking havoc behind enemy lines, forcing them to retreat. Others' eyes lit up, nodding in agreement. Indeed, it is likely them. This unit is known for its cunning tactics and disregard for conventional strategies. It certainly bears their hallmark. Previously, when the Blue Army sought to launch an offensive against us, it was due to their logistics being sabotaged that they were compelled to retreat